Gregory, how is you?
I'd say you stuck that one on back in the day.
Sure, it's a winner, isn't it?
I can tell you the song you played after that.
I'll go on ahead there now.
I'd say after that, when you were DJing, you went with Hurt So Good.
Maybe not so after that, but I could have played that another time now too. Depends if
the
they're
same
into
wee loop.
they're nice. From here, how's it going?
You got the Tuesday, Mondays mixed up a few times, I know.
No, I got it once, actually, nearly once.
Not too bad.
Do you know? Yeah.
Did you have a good weekend?
Did I? Good. A bit sluggish this morning coming in after the weekend, but I'm not complaining. I'm happy. But
good.
You have that's the strongest cup of coffee ever, did she?
I don't know what's going on.
Who put in the milk in that?
I think that was Shannon's handiwork.
She got the quota wrong.
It's all right.
At least you get a cup.
Aye, that's it. I'm not going to complain.
I'm not.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Okay.
All right, have a good show.
Have a good day, Lee. Chat to you tomorrow. It's 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and we cross over now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Northern Ireland Secretary has travelled to Washington to update Congress on the restoration of Stormont. The Taoiseach is also in the US this week to outline Ireland's policy objectives on current global issues and to discuss developments at Stormont also. The new executive met for the first time yesterday, and today will mark the first plenary session of the new Assembly. DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson, whose party has ended its 2-year boycott, says protecting public services is a priority.
We're going to press for further funding to ensure that not only can we deliver the public sector pay awards, but that we can also ensure that our public services are stable and effective in delivering what the people of Northern Ireland need.
Donegal Senator Niall Blaney has missed out on a chance to contest the European elections. Last night, Laois Offaly TD Barry Cowan was selected as Fianna Fáil's Midlands North West candidate for the upcoming elections. Senators Niall Blaney and Lisa Chambers had been nominated for selection along with Pat the Cope Gallagher. However, on close of nominations, Pat the Cope Gallagher had withdrawn. Deputy Cowan says it's a great honour and privilege to have been selected. The Donegal Garda Division is one of just 5 in the country that had more Gardaí at the start of 2023 than the previous 12 months. According to figures contained in the Irish Independent today, almost a third of the country's Garda stations had fewer officers at the end of last year. Along with Donegal, Dublin North Central, Dublin South Central and Dublin West had more Gardaí. However, of the 11 stations who lost their permanent Gardaí in 2023, Ballintra and Carrigart were 2 of them. There's much concern over the reappearance of toxic algae at a Strabane loch. The Northern Ireland Environment Agency has confirmed the presence of blue-green algae in Murloch. Signs have been erected warning people not to enter the water or allow their pets to do so. Councillor Paul Boggs says more action needs to be taken to improve water quality in the area.
Blue-green algae has now been a persistent issue in waterways right across Ireland, and Murloch is just the latest of that. And I suppose that the biggest epidemic of it has been in Lough Neagh, but I'm comforted by the fact that minds are focused on this issue. This issue must be kept as a priority, but for the meantime I'll remain in contact with all those agencies and seek regular updates on the conditions at Murloch in particular.
A 22-year-old man has been charged after a police vehicle was rammed in Omagh in the early hours of yesterday morning. 2 police officers escaped injury during the incident in the Brookmount Road area at around 2:15am. The man is expected to appear before Omagh Magistrates Court later today. A second man, also aged 22, has been released on bail to allow for further questioning. Finally, for weather, wet to start today with fairly widespread blustery rain. The rain will gradually clear through this morning with highest temperatures today of 6 to 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Was that milk still in date? I was muted on that call, wasn't I? Am I after losing my car keys?
Most things we worry about never happen. And with Liberty Insurance, you can worry less about things that do. Especially when right now you can get a €40 retail voucher if you buy your car insurance with Liberty Online. So you're free to worry about literally anything else.
Did I send that to the entire group chat?
Or not worry at all. Less worry, more liberty. €40 voucher offer is valid for new private car policies only. Purchased before January 31st, 2024. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros Compañía de Seguros Area Seguros S.A. Trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pensions Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome along to this programme. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 6th of February 2024. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show. How are you all keeping out there? I hope you're very well. Hope you enjoyed your weekend as best you could. And if anything, you got up to anything exciting, let us know too. 086 60 25,000. Or if there's anything that you think we need to be looking at or raising some awareness of from the weekend, or whenever for that matter, 07491 25,000 is the number to give us a call on. And you can email us as well from anywhere around the world. It is comments@highlandradio.com. And of course, you can watch the programme on your smart TV or your Fire Stick on the YouTube app. Just type in Highland Radio Ireland. And we're across Facebook as well on Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport, and streaming on X. And it's good to have you all on board already. Thank you very much for that. Stay with us, because after 10 we've Community Garda information, and there's so much more besides. We've a shorter than usual look at the papers today because for reasons outside of our control we don't have access to all of the papers. But let's start with the Irish Independent. And more than 2 out of 3 GPs in rural Ireland are not taking on new patients, and some have waiting times of up to 2 weeks for an appointment, a study by the Irish Independent has shown. And this is a kind of a difficult story for us to cover, and we do so on a regular basis, and I'll read on in a moment, because the experience for different people in different parts of this region is very different. You will speak to some people in particular areas, they've no issues getting GP appointments, or certainly not 2 weeks delays, and also not as much of a challenge in terms of signing up to a GP. In other areas, it's a very different experience, whereby people aren't happy the way they're triaged on the phone. They're told there's not an appointment for a week or two, and there are people that have moved to the county who can't get signed up to a GP. So I could pick out the areas that I know where the problems are, and then the areas, because of the amount of times we've covered it, the areas where it's not so much of a challenge. But what is your experience? I mean, what is your general experience in terms of getting a GP's appointment? Do you have a situation whereby you've moved to the area, or someone close to you has moved to the area and they're unable to sign up with the GP to get care and what have you? You know, give us a sense of what's going on out there now, because things are changing all the time. So I would say, you know, the 2 out of 3 GPs in rural Ireland who are not taking on new patients, there's going to be quite a bit of that going on in Donegal, isn't there? Well, the findings from a survey of 275 registered GPs nationwide showed more than half of the GPs cannot currently accept new patients, with many already balancing lengthy books with long waiting lists. But this number rises in rural areas. Just 32% of practices outside of the country's main cities are open to taking on new patients, compared with almost half of urban practices, reflecting a clear divide in access. And of course, rural is kind of a catch-all, but there are many areas that are classed as rural where the population could have doubled in recent years. Do you know what I mean? So rural v urban, I don't think it kind of has the same context as the simple reading of the words. While exceptions can be made, many practices said they were not in the position to take on new patients unless they fell within their catchment area or it fit other criteria, with decisions made on a case-by-case basis by the GP. So again, if you've had experience of that or an ongoing experience, please let us know. 086 60 25,000. Just reading on from the report here, patients in the border counties of Cavan, Leitrim, Donegal, Monaghan and Sligo must wait from anything between 3 days to 1 week for of contacting the practice. Waiting times did vary in the Midlands though. So the average, it seems from this survey, the average wait for a GP's appointment in Donegal, and we're grouped in with a number of other counties as well, is anything between 3 days to 1 week of contacting the practice. So I say, let us know if that's your experience or if you have anything to add in relation to that. 086 60 25,000. I imagine your experience out there is quite reflective of people's general experiences. The Irish Times, a lot of talk about measles at the moment, and we're looking just for figures on a county-by-county basis of the MMR uptake. I think quite often here in Donegal, long before the pandemic, we can tend to lag in terms of vaccine uptakes and things. But anyway, plans are being made for an urgent catch-up vaccination programme for younger adults against measles after the Health Service Executive warned the probability of an outbreak in Ireland was high. Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly, will brief Cabinet today that a significant increase of measles cases notified in Europe this winter, coupled with falling rates of MMR vaccine uptake in Ireland, has raised concerns about wide transmission of the disease in Ireland this year. 1/5 of the population in some counties have no protection against measles due to low vaccination rates. Mr Donnelly will tell colleagues that, following the rapid risk assessment carried out by the HSE, the probability of the introduction and transmission of measles in Ireland is high. Now, it's not for me to say, and I'm not a medic. I can only speak from my own attitude or those around me, in that I think measles, can be really quite damaging, not just when you catch it, but also later in life. And of course, we all can look back to when we were much younger and we all got measles and there was no harm in it. But did we really know what was going on? Personally, in the likes of my head, you'd want to decouple it sort of from conversations about vaccines, about other stuff that we've all had. We've all had the conversations about the COVID vaccine and whether or not you would take a booster, and I'm not taking any of them and all that, or I am, and I'm religiously taking them, give me more. There's loads of different opinions. But I mean, I think it's important, is it not, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we don't want to sort of maybe apply those attitudes to a different type of vaccine, which has been proven to be very successful. I don't know. As I say, I don't like talking about that stuff, but I just do wonder if we need to be a little bit careful that we don't have a blanket view on things. But anyway, everyone out there well capable of making up their own minds, of course. Joe Duffy could be leaving RTE, apparently. This is in the Irish Daily Star. Joe Duffy could be set to leave RTE next year as RTE's Director General confirms the host has not asked for a new contract as he clamps down on huge salaries for top earners. The Lifeline host, and this is an interesting line, I wonder how many of you agree, perhaps many of you do. The Lifeline host, considered by many as the voice of the nation, has told Kevin Backhurst that he will not be seeking a new contract for his services as a contractor through his company Cllr Green Limited with the station next year. Now, I would be a radio listener first, really, if the truth be told. I love radio. I listen to radio all the time. And I used to be a regular listener to Lifeline. I wouldn't miss it, actually, where I could. I just don't know. I think over the last 3 or 4 years, I found myself tuning out to the point I haven't listened to it at all, really, for the last year or so. But anyway, it's understood Joe's current contract, which earns him a salary of just €351,000 per year and is the second highest paid at the station, is due to end in the middle of next year. Mr. Backhurst confirmed to the Star Joe Duffy has made it clear he's not looking for a new contract when he finishes this contract. And the truth be told, if you look at the figures, perhaps now is a good time for him to move on to other projects. I don't know. Britain's King Charles is battling cancer. It was revealed yesterday. His son Harry heading home to comfort him, which is the focus of most of the papers, what Harry's doing or not. The monarch shared the news of his diagnosis and immediate medical treatment. He said he wanted to make it public to assist understanding for all those around the world who are affected by cancer. And Britain's King told aides he's looking forward to getting back to work as soon as possible and will carry on working behind the scenes. Prince Harry was looking to jet home from America as early as last night to be by his father's side. A source close to Harry said he has spoken to Britain's King about the diagnosis and will travel to the UK to see him in the coming days. Lots of people have sent their good wishes. President Michael D. Higgins and Sinn Féin's Michelle O'Neill amongst them. And there was this, I watched a little bit. I didn't consume much news at all over the weekend, to be honest with you, but I watched a little bit of the Sky and BBC News coverage, and they said, and the message being that by him speaking out in some way it helps other people. It's a very personal, I suppose it's a very personal journey, the cancer journey, but perhaps it does help other people. How? I'm not really quite sure, but I'm not in that situation, so I don't know. But the general sense, this is, fair play to him. This is going to help other people as well. But anyway, what do you all think out there? 086 60 25,000. By the way, if you want to contact us from outside of the Republic via WhatsApp or text 00353 86 60 25,000. And also, for whatever reason, maybe it suits you, maybe you're not fantastic at typing, it's completely up. We just want to make sure everyone has access to have their say. You can send us a voice note on WhatsApp as well. Just hold down the mic, tell us what you think, release the mic, and it comes to us, providing obviously you're sending it to Highland Radio. All right, we'll be back with our first guests on the show very shortly.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide ropes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
Because we're getting older, they feel we shouldn't have rights. So stand up and be counted, look after the older people, and this country would flourish if they did. Because our expectations, our enthusiasm, our knowledge, our experience, what we've gone through can all be so reflected on young people and make them feel stronger.
Learn more about ageism in Ireland at ihrec.ie from the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission. We're all human. We're all equal.
On the wings of a snow.
Hot Country TV Sky 588 in association with Highland Radio present in concert a tribute to country music legend Charlie Pride by his brother Stephen and 6-piece band with guests at the Mount Erigal Hotel Letterkenny Wednesday 27th of March 2024. Hear over 40 of Charlie Pride's hits. This is a concert not to be missed. Tickets €25. Available from hotel reception now.
Now, city and county councillors face growing levels of abuse from the public and increasingly fear for their safety, according to the most extensive study of Irish local authority members published to date. Research from Maynooth University for the Association of Irish Local Government ahead of this year's local elections found abuse sustained by councillors contributes to premature retirements, deters recruitment and would not be acceptable in any workplace. The report involved surveys of 500 councillors from across the country, as well as one-to-one interviews and focus groups with a representative sample of councillors and other local authority stakeholders. Local councillor, independent councillor Nicholas Crosson is a member of the Association of Irish Local Government and is with us on the programme this morning. Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning, Greg.
And I suppose even in engaging in this conversation, to some extent, you're sticking your head above the parapet, aren't you? Where people will say, oh, well, what are you moaning about? And you're this and you're that and the other. So I think even maybe a lot of councillors might be reluctant to speak out on an issue like this for that reason.
Well, Greg, look, it's a profession that you're in. You're going to have to... I don't mind constructive criticism, and I don't think any councillor really bothers them too much. But when you get harassment, and where we were finding it was through the AILG when we carried out our survey of well over 50% of the councillors in Ireland, that the women, ladies in politics are finding it very, very difficult. And more so in cities rather than rural, where people are maybe in a city where you don't maybe know your councillor as well as you would do in a small town or village. But that's where we have found the biggest problem we have. People coming into politics didn't realise that the abuse that they get. And not only that, and I'd say, as I said at the outset, most councillors doesn't mind constructive criticism, but when it goes down to family members, then that's when it really kicks in, I think, Greg.
Do you have an experience of it?
I do, yes. Oh, yeah, I do. All right, on a few occasions, but like I'm as they say, have a brass neck, and I have a good broad shoulders, and I can take a bit of abuse when, as I said, constructive criticism. If I've done something wrong and somebody gets, you shouldn't have done that. I hold my hand up and say that's fair enough. But for the sake of somebody coming, maybe approaching you with not done the proper research or what you voted on or what you're saying, I would find that hard to take, and I would bounce back on that one, Greg, and would tell them on no uncertain terms that's not what I meant. But I think it's a game we're on. We have to, you must stand up. You can't be sitting back and taking the abuse.
Do you think those that in the population, I'm not sure if they're majority or minority, that sort of support the work of councillors or are happy with the work of councillors, could speak up a little bit more? Because often it's only the anti-councillor or the negative views towards a councillor that we kind of hear. You know, it's like when we talk about the government. At the end of the day, the government parties in this county, you know, probably have 50% of the support of the voting public, but often are less likely to take their phone out in support of a government, for an example, than those who might be in favour of the oppositions or independents, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're 100% right. I've always said the noisy minority seems to get attention and focus on a particular thing. Most people go about their daily lives, if they need to make representation, or a councillor has to make representation on their behalf, they approach us via their phoners or call their house or whatever, make an appointment to meet us, and are quite happy with the work that we do. But when you get... And there are that element. Well, the only thing about it, Greg, the election's coming now, and anybody feels that we're not doing it right, the ballot paper's long enough for anybody to put their name on it and go for election. It's just not easy to get elected. But the majority of the people, I would say the majority of people, I'm talking locally in Donegal, Bruton, Donegal, are quite happy with what the councillor does and the job that they do. But you don't have to be going telling everybody you're doing a great job. But you'll be told when you do a bad job. It's like nearly going on to a restaurant. If there's something wrong, that'll travel faster. Bad news travels faster than good news.
In terms of being a councillor, what can you achieve? Or you know, and each councillor might sort of have a different view on this, if you know what I mean. So I know you're not speaking necessarily on behalf of all councillors, but you know, you go into... but my point is it's everyone's own experience. But you go into the council, you know, everyone has their say. You know, you propose a motion, that motion is seconded and it's passed, and really the decisions are sort of executive decisions. Do you know what I mean? So it's the top table that really make the calls. When it comes around to budget day, for the most part, the budget is decided, and the councillors will debate really what might be done with a fraction of the budget, a very small amount of the budget. You know, generally speaking, that's all been set by non-elected people who are employed to do that. So really, from your perspective, you know, what is the role of a councillor, or what can a councillor achieve?
Well, take it for example today, Greg, we have probably one of the most important meetings that we're going to have on today in Lifford, where we're going to vote on the Donegal plan, the draft plan going forward. So last Thursday at the launch of the AILG, I met the principal officer in the Office of Public Regulator, and I told him of the problems that we had in Donegal. You know, and he says, lift the phone, Nicholas, talk to me. I've met him a few times, I know him fairly well. And he gave me a few pointers on what we should be doing and trying to get this plan over the line. This plan for Donegal affects each and every person in Donegal. And the councillor has a huge say on that particular. Should it be on planning? Should it be on residential zone land tax? Should it be on what we're going to build houses? What stuff we need to pull out the county for tourism? Roads where they have to be built. So the plan that we're voting on today is a huge, huge plan. I know that you're saying that the budget, the discretionary money that we have in the budget is limited because we have to pay for X number, salaries have to come out of it, pensions have to come out of it, and so many expenses comes out of it before the actual money. But Donegal has a huge budget for the size of the county and the population of the county.
Yeah.
And that is by the good work of the councillors and the executive together, working together and trying drawing down money. Unfortunately, when you start to draw down money, there's somebody that'll put in an objection, as we had in Buncrana there with a £12 million project in Fort Dunree. It's not going to go away or anything like that, but it's put back, and maybe that money could be lost to Buncrana. That would be a huge loss, because somebody is, over some minor detail, but it has to go to the board for another.
Do you think, sort of, at least this isn't a criticism or a statement of fact, it's just talking points, right? That, the lived experience or the life of someone in Donegal could be, like we were saying just a little earlier on, difficulty in accessing a GP. It could be the long waits in the ED that I think people have stopped complaining about it now because it's sort of become the norm. But I was chatting to someone who was very sick and stood for hours upon hours on end with a severe, potentially a very severe condition, couldn't get a seat, got out of bed, was put out of the bed. You know all the stories yourself. The hundreds of people that are accessing food banks on a daily basis, the conversations around the dinner table about how they're going to heat their homes with turf and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even the situation as it relates to, access to housing, when they see houses up the road being done up for, people who've moved to this country, for an example. So I'm just I think that's kind of reflective of an awful lot of what people are talking about and feeling. Do you think that's reflected enough in the council? Like, you know what I'm on about, that the people who elect councillors feel that their lives are being, if you run through the motions and the questions, do you think the council is really a reflection of the work it's doing, is a reflection of the lived experience of the general population's lives, or do you think it's reflective of it enough?
Well, we have to divide the role of the councillor and the role of. What happens is there's an awful lot of projects, issues, and that are dealt with by central government. The Donegal County Council or any other council has no hand actor part to play on, and this gets lost in translation sometimes, Greg, when they're saying the health service. The health service is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, budget in Ireland. Now, if people cannot get services, and I am acutely aware of people who have been sitting for hours and days, in fact, in emergency department, and it is so unfair for people. But is there not a system that we could look at, that we could improve this? And countless ministers have been in this role, and in my opinion, they haven't delved into the real problem of how do we get people through the system. There are more people now, and I'm sure a lot of people will say that they're in and they're taking your name, your PPS number, your date of birth, where you're from, and that is asked 5 or 6 times, and that's probably has to be done for.
But can you imagine though? This is the thing I never wondered about, and maybe there's no platform to do it. But say, for instance, on a regular basis, say for instance at a county council meeting, someone proposed that we want to put 2 hours to one side to talk about the crisis at Letterkenny University Hospital. Councillors would debate that, maybe a vote at the end that would say, right, we impress on the Minister of Health, blah, 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 which would carry a lot of weight. On Highland, it would be reported. It would be reported in the newspapers and on the websites and what have you. That doesn't really happen. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, if it does actually happen. But do you know what I mean? Whereby it feels that the issues being talked in the council sort of really reflect what we're all having to live and experience here. It probably could even make national news moves like that. Do you know what I mean? Or even on housing or what have you. Do you know? And as I say, if it does happen, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, Nicholas, but I'm just wondering if the council might feel more connected to the people if it actually felt like we were debating. There's great work done in terms of debating issues about certain areas and things that need doing, and I get that, right? But I'm on about just actually reflecting our lives out here.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Greg, but we have to divide the role of the councillor and the national politician. We could sit up in Lifford and debate and send out a lovely letter to the Minister of Health and say, look, we disagree. They have been countless letters going and there's motions come in, and I'm sure that they're going from every county council in Ireland The minister will look at that, and he'll probably look in the letter saying, I know this is going to happen, but what am I going to do? I think that it's certainly, and I'm not walking away from this problem because I have spent a brave while in hospital myself, and all I can say is that the workers in there are 100%. Once you get into the system, there's no problem. It's absolutely fantastic. But what I'm saying is, this is a national issue, and that is where our TV,
but listen, you know yourself. Look, there's plenty of national stuff discussed. Even say, for instance, access to GPs. That the council debate the issues in certain areas with accessing GPs. It gets that information out. It would be easier to report on. There could be some sort of a united message coming from the council. I do understand. There's an awful if there wasn't so much stuff talked about in the council that wasn't local, I would say, yeah, I get you. But you know yourself, a lot of the motions are about national stuff or international stuff, for that matter. You were engaged in debates about foreign flags and stuff like that. I'm not getting into that, but do you know what I mean? It's often
local.
Yeah, yes, but exactly, everything's local. That's the point, Nicholas. Anyway, come here. I don't want you.
That was local, Greg.
Okay, I get you. I don't want you to think I'm taking you on or pulling something up. That's not what I'm
No. I get where you're coming from. I would agree with you, Greg, because I do think there's far too much national politics spoke in the Donegal County Council.
Yeah.
We should be dealing with issues local to the people who.
But the biggest issues is housing, health. Like, say, for instance, you're discussing the county development plan. I mean, does that specifically talk to? And this is not you personally. This is the council. But does that specifically talk to the defective concrete crisis, i.e., particular provisions or exceptions to allow, I don't know, mobile homes on site, or not mobile homes, or the conversion of garages or whatever, or changes to planning permission that might allow different things to happen? I'm throwing stuff out there, but the general question is the county development plan, as you said, an incredibly important meeting today. Does that make specific provision or mention of the defective concrete crisis, for an example?
Yes. And we have set up the defective concrete. It actually, Greg, it was the first committee set up when I became Cllr in 2019. Was the first committee was the Michael crisis at that time, or the defective block, headed by our Inishowen man Martin McDermott, who's doing Trojan work. Martin and Albert and the boys that are involved in that committee report back into the plenary council regarding issues.
But the county development plan does take account of the defective concrete crisis.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it has to. It's a huge issue, Greg. It has to take in that there.
No, that's good. I didn't see it, so that's good. That's all right. If it does, it does.
Of course it does. Where can we build houses? How can we get best effective off the houses? That's one of the huge local issues that we have. And I agree that we are probably, in my opinion, concentrate too much on national issues when there's an awful lot of being done locally. Yeah.
Anyway, come here. I'm not. I think it's kind of part of the same conversation, if you know what I mean. In that, like, I kind of wanted to, just as we were chatting, expand it out as to why people might feel there's a little bit of a, that it's okay to criticise councillors or whatever it might be. It'll be interesting to...
It's not... No, I'd have to go back to that point, Greg.
Yep.
It is any person that put their name forward for any kind of a public representation, should it be on a Tidy Towns committee or any other committee, those people are putting themselves out in a limb. And, to say that there should be no form of abuse, none. It says constructive criticism. But when you get somebody that may phone you up or call something to you or slander your name, that there has to be rooted out. And I don't care what profession it is.
No, I think, and the thing is we're doing it to each other as well, Nicholas. Like if you
there's a small cohort that does it.
No, well, if I post something on X, Twitter, whatever it might be called, and people don't like it, the names and things you can be called are shocking. And it's not just because I'm on the radio. It's everywhere. It's just people generally calling each other names, and you can almost guess what they're going to call each other. I think councillors get it, but I think we're all getting it. Anyone on social media gets it. That the days where you sort of have a conversation and tease it out are gone.
Not everybody thinks you're great, either, Greg.
Trust me, Nicholas, I hear all about it, and I'm if I was on Joe Duffy's money, I probably wouldn't mind it as much.
You wouldn't really care. No, look, anybody in the public eye, I don't try to say constructive criticism, good and a good debate. I would love that, but when somebody just turns around and with ill-informed, being ill-informed, and coming out and saying, "You boys done that, or you done this here, you done that, you said that," and I couldn't be further from the truth.
I mean, like I just think if it were me, I would love to see, issues debated in the council. A wide-ranging motion whereby 2 hours would be given to one side to talk about how to appeal to the Department of Education for more funding for schools and colleges in the Northwest. There's a massive divide in terms of we need a huge uplift here. To call politely on the government to address the inequality in terms of us having the lowest disposable income in the country. To call on government to do specific measures to deal with the higher rates of child poverty in this area. For special attention to be given us in terms of providing housing, to have a general conversation about our immigration policy in Donegal. I just really think, and they do it in the Dáil and the Shannon, that, as you said earlier on, every issue is local, that wide-ranging debates where we could hear people's views and councillors challenge each other's views, and then maybe a motion at the end and a vote and a decision. I just really think that would be really constructive local politics. Some might say, well, what difference does it make? It would just be a talking shop, but it feels like it would be holding a mirror up to the lived experience of people, notwithstanding the important work that councillors do.
Well, I see out of that issue, Greg, the biggest problem the issue that we would have is trying to attract business into Donegal. Like Donegal is, and we're blue in the face saying that it's a great spot to live in, and it's a great spot to work on. Unfortunately, we don't have enough work in this county. That is where the county council fits in. That we be talking, and through should it be board Fáilte Ireland through the tourism project. Should it be getting industry in? Letterkenny is very well served with industry, and I do believe that should be spread out throughout the rest of the county to lift the rest of the county. For example, 30 years ago, we had 1,800 people working on Fruit of Luma in Buncrana town, in the town centre. That is gone. That wasn't replaced. That was to be replaced somewhere. And then on Sean, we never got that replacement. So that is the reason that we're lacking behind. And that is where I would be saying that our point should be, is every time we get the Department of Environment or Employment or Industry, that is the point that we should be making. That Donegal, we're open. We have one of the best broadband services, which is huge now. Yeah. We can work from home, and we have a great standard of living in Donegal. But unfortunately, we don't have enough work for the people.
All right, thank you very much indeed. And if you could draw up a list of those people you say that don't like me, I wouldn't mind email it to me. I want to have a word with them. All right, take care.
I'll send it on to you guys. Good luck. Thanks so much.
All right, take care of yourself. Councillor Nicholas Crosson there.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours in small nibbles, that means you're real deep. You can sense when someone's about to text you. Your dreams mean stuff, and you keep all your birthday cards in a special box. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
Join Homeland and Nutrius Animal Feeds for their Future of Farming 2024 and the Donegal Silage Awards evening on Wednesday 7th of February at 8 p.m. in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Learn from industry experts on the evening, including Finbar O'Regan from the Department of Agriculture, Conor Brown from the ICBF, Adam Woods from the Irish Farmers Journal, and guest judge Andrew Wright, better known as Farm Theory NI on YouTube and TikTok. For more information, visit homeland.ie.
Get the right tools or equipment to get the job done with great hire deals at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Everything from diggers to power tools, dumpers to portaloos, and pressure washers to cherry pickers. Watson's offer a fast and reliable service. To book, call Watson Hire in Letterkenny on 9167777.
Are you a male aged 40 plus? Are you looking after your health? Letterkenny Medics are now offering a full medical check that includes blood pressure, BMI, cardio, respiratory, prostate and testicular checks, blood tests that will check your sugar levels, cholesterol, lipid and bone profiles, with a full aftercare provided including prescriptions or referrals if required. Your health is your wealth. Book an appointment today at letterkennymedics.ie or call 07492 02955. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
All right, we're going to return to Duncanely National School now. We talked about this some time ago, but it's an ongoing issue. It's safety outside the school. Unfortunately, this is reflective of an awful lot of schools across the county, but our focus, as I say, for the next wee while is down in beautiful Duncanely. Kelly is one of is a parent who had an experience lately and is joining us on the programme now. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, Kelly. So tell us what happened most recently.
Well, just last week alone, on Monday, when I went out to collect my child at 2 o'clock, I was actually the only person that day that happened to be having to cross the road. So I was standing, as we always do. We pressed the button on the lights and we were waiting for the light to turn red. So I kind of got myself into the habit of watching the lights. I was just looking up and watching, and the lights went red. And then we were waiting for the green man, and the green man was just about to show, and then I could hear a car coming from the Donegal town side.
Mm-hmm.
And that car just drove through the town at speed. I just watched the driver going past. He didn't even see us standing, and he didn't even see the lights. That I can be sure of. He was going so fast. So I was furious that day, because I just keep thinking to myself, how many times is this going to happen? Like, if we were crossing the road when we were supposed to be crossing the road, we would have been hit. So I made a few calls the next day to the county council and to the guards. I reported it to the guards. And then on Thursday so me and a few of the parents took it upon ourselves. We said, right, what we'll do is we'll start videoing. If we can, we'll take a video just so that we proof, because we feel like we keep saying people are jumping the lights, but I mean, you need to see it to believe it. And I think the video footage that we got on Thursday shocked everybody except us, because we're used to seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened Thursday. Again, there's 3 parents waiting to cross on Thursday and 3 children. And as you've seen from the video, 2 cars actually broke the lights that day. And again, as the second car was going past, I mean, the green man was very visible in the video, so we should have been crossing at that point, but you know, it's just not safe to do. So I don't even adhere to the green man anymore. I just go, if the lights are red, I just wait and see, is the traffic going to stop? Because they're just not seeing the lights for some reason, or else they're going too fast. I don't know how it's going to be resolved, but something needs to be done, because somebody is going to get hurt out there. There is going to be an accident, and I just don't know how much more we can say,
Right, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it. I have it here in front of me, and I'm gonna play it now. And those watching the show on Facebook and YouTube will see it with me for the first time. So the camera's inside the car. Okay. It's green. Red car goes through. Amber. It switches to red, and then we have, right, it is red a long time. Wow, okay. A van goes straight through, and there's a mother and another car goes through coming up the way.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Why? Can they not see the lights, or?
I think that is a bit of an issue. I don't know on approach why they're not seeing the lights. And this morning I actually took note of the warning signs on approach to the school. So there's one of those little signs with the picture of the kids on it, and there should be flashing signs. This was on the Killybeg side. Those lights weren't flashing this morning. So I don't know, was that every morning or every time at school, but they weren't working this morning. So I drove out then to turn to see was the other lights working. Now, the other lights were working on the Donegal town side. But even at that, those lights just aren't very visible, or they're just not making enough of an impact.
You see, the thing about it is, and not being dramatic, okay, the mum with the child there that we can see has a good tight hold of that child because of the life experience of it. Exactly. But my word, it would not be difficult for anyone to step in front of that van coming down from the Killybegs direction.
Yeah.
That is worrying.
But I was standing there as
and
well.
the car coming up
You
from
can't
Donegal
see
Town's
yourself.
almost even more worrying, if you know what I mean, because
Yeah,
they've got it.
they just...
Oh, okay, that's shocking stuff, that.
But this is all the time, so it doesn't shock us. That's the thing. I've been out and about at the weekend, and people have said to me, "Oh, I've seen the video that you put up on Facebook," because it's had thousands of views.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my God, that's shock." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not really that shocked. This is what we see a lot. Now, it's not always two cars, obviously, but one car a lot breaking the lights. And what I have seen too is you can see that the lights have gone amber, and people put the foot down.
Yeah.
So that they try to get past before it goes red, because they just haven't time to stop for 1 minute. It's not even a minute.
That car coming from Killybegs, the van, it's so green, amber and red, as did the car coming up from Donegal Town. Like, there's a serious issue with lines of sight or something, or poor adherence to the rules of the road. Really, really worrying. Sinead's one of the parents too in the area who shares your concern, as we all do. Sinead, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Hi, Kelly. How are you? You did very well there explaining the situation. I suppose...
I was a little bit distracted listening to her because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, Sinead. So I think Kelly was Kelly was flying solo there. But go on ahead, Sinead.
No, she did very well. Look, at this issue, I'm at the school 3 times a day as well. I see this weekly. I wouldn't say daily, but definitely weekly. Nobody waits. Every person, I think the person you can probably see the side of holding a child's hand is me.
Right.
And, we have little kids coming out of there at 2 that are probably busy. They're busy children. So we have to watch them because they're excited getting out and it's a busy road. But Greg, you touched on it there at the end. This is a bigger issue. This many motorists can't be wrong. They can't all be that complacent that they're not, seeing the lights. I think this is a bigger issue, and it's a long-standing issue. It's something that's been going on at least 10 years. And you talk to other parents who have had kids through the school, they're still talking about it, and they have raised it with their local county councillors. They've raised it with the Gardaí on numerous occasions through the years, and we're still sitting here with the same issue. So, Caroline said to me when she was talking to me before, she said, "Sinead, what's the solution?" I said, "It's not my job to find a solution here. I can highlight the issue. There's plenty of people there that can come and talk to us, that can, that are in those roles, that can come and talk to the local community and to ask us what is the issue, what is happening. We can clearly explain that. Kelly's video, or whoever took the video, is very... that just displays it perfectly. It's the best way to display the issues that we're dealing with.
Certainly the car from Donegal Town, it's almost as if they see the light and think it doesn't apply to them, if you know what I mean. And I'm not judging anyone, but they almost slow down and go, right, stuff it, I'm going to plough on. Yeah. Like, the only way then that it's safe for you to cross that road is if one car coming from Killybegs stops and another car coming from Donegal Town stops, and they effectively guard you to cross the road. That seems to be the only real safe way of crossing there, because you could never trust that crossing.
Yeah. No, you can't. And this morning we have, the Gardaí are very good. It's, they're out. Once somebody makes a call, they're out. They were out on Friday, they're out this morning. I crossed that road, no problem, with the children this morning because the guard was standing there. So people seen him, they seen his car, they seen him standing, and they stopped. But, people are, unfortunately, I think our lives are so busy. We're on the road, we're rushing to work, we're rushing to school, whatever. We need more warnings. I've drove through other towns. We're not a unique issue here, this school, on the side of the road. I'm sure we can all identify local national schools on busy roads. But there's more... there's something else done. There's more warnings on this road. I don't know, like yellow signage or something coming in from the Donegal side and coming from through the town. There needs to be more warning for motorists, school approaching or whatever it may be. But I definitely think it's a bigger issue here than just...
I mean, but even just to
everybody
see, even if the road markings helped people, I don't know, slow, in a zebra crossing, something like that. Is it? This might sound stupid, and either Kelly or Sinead, how many sets of traffic lights are there south of the gap? Is it the fact that is it fact that people aren't used to traffic lights down our end of the county?
Very valid point.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it sounds crazy,
maybe.
but I can't imagine anyone jumping a light like this in Letterkenny because they're so accustomed to lights.
Yeah.
We're used to jumping lights at traffic works. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, but when the obvious doesn't make any sense, you sort of have to go to the ridiculous. Kelly, come in there.
No, I was just going to say, well, when people from this area go to Letterkenny then shopping or that, they totally adhere to the traffic lights.
I know.
I think maybe another issue is nearly 99 times out of 100 when they're passing through Duncanelli, it's usually a green light. So they maybe just not used to stopping at all. They don't see the lights anymore, I think is an issue. Because we watch that the person in that van that was coming from the Killybegs side. Now, I was watching him come. He was looking at us. He wasn't looking up at the lights. And then I raised my hand up to him to point up to the lights, but it was too late. He'd gone through at this stage, and then you could see in the video that he braked, but it was too late.
Like, there is a couple of things happening as he's approaching. Firstly, there's a mum and a young girl standing directly on the side of the road, clearly looking to cross. There's obviously other cars outside the school because it's pick-up time. So if that person can't sort of look at that situation and go, something here that I need to pay attention to, you would worry about their attention to anything. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't just take the lights in this isolation. You've mum and daughter standing waiting to cross. You know, you've got other parents in cars. Do you know what I mean? That's what I know. It beggars belief. Okay. So Sinead, you know, as you say, it's not up to parents. You can highlight it and platform the issues, but there are people in the roads department, which is just in Donegal town there, as you know, on the little roundabout. That's where their offices are. We've got great engineers in this county. They need to sort of put their heads together and say, well, what can we do to prevent a tragedy here?
Absolutely. Because, you know, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing, you know, daily up there, that it could be a tragedy. We were also part of the group that were there when there was another incident that was covered in your programme as well a few months ago, where a lorry actually had to go up on the footpath, and that could have been disastrous. So I think that's why nobody wants to be, you know, wasting time or, you know, giving our energy to this sort of stuff, but it is a very critical situation that needs to be dealt with imminently. Okay.
Listen, the picture paints 1,000 words. Both of you have explained it perfectly, but I'll tell you, the video really hits it home. Sinead, Kelly, both of you, thank you very much for that. Keep us in the loop on this as well. We're going to make our inquiries, of course, and try and get some answers as to what the plan is, or maybe, which could be worse, if they say, we've done all we can, that's the way it is. You know, we can't roll the dice like that with children's and parents' lives. Kelly and Sinead, both of you, thank you very much indeed. And as I say, if you get home this evening, if you're at work or in the car, you can watch back on YouTube or Facebook the first hour of this show, and you'll see the video, which kind of beggars belief. All right, okay, we're going to take a break. Come back with more of your comments as we head towards news at 10.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists. Dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
I'm making a move. Looking for real choice? Leave diesel behind and make the move to Toyota Hybrid Electric at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. World-leading hybrid electric technology, lower emissions driving, with the widest choice of hybrid electric models from Ireland's best-selling car brand. With flexible payment options available, make the move today at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world.
It's time to transform your smile with the help of Blue Poppy Dental, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Their expert team offer orthodontics, teeth whitening, implants and composite bonding all in-house. Start your journey by calling 074 97 40404 or easily book your appointment online at a time that suits you through their user-friendly patient portal. Available anytime, anywhere at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Gift vouchers available.
Your local council works for you in lots of ways. It helps support jobs and businesses, provides housing, and manages services such as libraries, roads, parks, plus much, much more. Life in your local area is shaped by the decisions and policies made by your council and the councillors you elect to represent your community. To find out more about how your local council works for you, please visit gov.ie/your council. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
I was listening to the weather forecast this morning on national radio, and the person from, and this is not a criticism of Metarian, but the person come on and said after a calm and settled bank holiday weekend, the weather was going to change and get more unsettled. Some of the weather I witnessed over the weekend was as bad as during the two most recent storms, certainly the second storm. But it's just funny when you hear someone go, after a calm and settled weekend. I don't think it was very calm and settled. But anyway, obviously they're down the country and it might be different down there. Well, it's a wet start today with fairly widespread blustery rain. The rain will gradually clear southwards through the morning, leaving a mostly dry day with hazy sunshine. Clear, but locally icy conditions into the evening. Cold tonight, temperatures 6 to 8 degrees, and sort of mixed views still out there amongst forecasters as to what the end of the week has in store in terms of snow or what have you. Coming up after 10 o'clock, by the way, don't go anywhere because we have community Garda information, and that includes appeals in relations to burglaries in Ballyshannon and Raphoe, car thefts or theft from a car in Letterkenny, thefts in Milford, criminal damage in Letterkenny, and an appeal on an update and appeal we had last week as well. So stay tuned for that. That and so much more besides coming up with Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh after the 10 o'clock news. Duncanneely National School, there are 3 advanced warning signs either side of the school and controlled crossing. There's only so much engineering that can be done to eliminate a hazard. This is down to driver behaviour and not a lack of action by the local authority, which I think is a fair, it stands up, that comment. I appreciate it. Zebra crossing, painted amber flashing lights and rules like in Northern Ireland where vehicles must stop at a zebra crossing. The problem is as one of the mothers pointed out there, 99% of the time there is no, the lights are inactive. There's no need for them. It's only, Monday to Friday when schools are on, and in the mornings and in the afternoons. Most of the time drivers drive through there. There is no need for them to slow or stop. You put in zebra crossings there, after a while, it's like the boy who cried wolf, and people will just drive straight over them anyway. That's, I presume, part of the problem. I have a number of issues with the lights too, not these ones, but in other towns. You go to walk and someone drives through them. We need an automatic loss of licence if you do this. The same with mobile phones, even if it was for 3 months. Lessons need to be learned the hard way in this country. Too many people are being injured and losing their lives at the hands of careless drivers. Right, okay. We were talking earlier on about MMR uptake. And I sort of said, and it was anecdotal, that we probably have a lower uptake here in Donegal because we tend to in certain things. And we will be now, of course, the targets of HSE planning in the event of a measles outbreak, because the MMR vaccine uptake nationally is 88%. Now, that's shy of the 95% that covers, sick children not being able to get it and what have you. We are 82% in Donegal, so we are 6% the national average for the MMR uptake, and we are also 13% behind the figure that would be needed, according to the health experts, which I think some people have a distrust of now for different reasons. But anyway, we're well shy of the 95%. The 95% is to allow for a small number of children, often sick children, that cannot get vaccinated, or those for whom the vaccine doesn't work. And also the current rate, we're told, would allow the virus to circulate and infect those who are not protected, the 18% Okay, back with more after the news and obituary notices.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors, serving Letterkenny and the surrounding areas for over 100 years. Charlie McLafferty, Funeral Directors. Let our family take care of your family and guide you through a difficult time.
Across a wide range of categories, the 2024.ie Digital Town Awards are a chance to showcase your town's digital project. Apply now at digitaltownawards.ie. Brought to you by .ie, Ireland's National Domain Registry. Terms and conditions apply.
The new year is here, but don't forget about the old tax year. Log on to Revenue's My Account to check your end-of-year position and claim any tax credits you are entitled to. If you're due a refund, you'll get it within days. If you owe us money, we'll work with you on payment options. My Account. It's quick, it's easy, and it's free.
Right now, B&Q Club members get 10% off everything in-store and online. Not a member? Join today, save today. Sign up in-store or at DIY.ie. But hurry, offer ends Tuesday. You can do it. Exclusions and terms and conditions apply. See DIY.ie.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The 100% Redress Party is calling on Donegal County Council to provide assistance for defective block homeowners during severe weather events. The party is urging the council to compile a database of homeowners and provide a text service to advise them when a weather alert is in place and where they can seek refuge. Many defective block homeowners were left living in fear during recent storms due to the condition of their properties. Ali Farn, PRO of the 100% Redress Party, says it's imperative the local authority take action before someone is seriously injured. The Northern Ireland Secretary has travelled to Washington to update Congress on the restoration of Stormont. The new executive met for the first time yesterday and today will mark the first plenary session of the new Assembly. DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson, whose party has ended its 2-year boycott, says protecting public services is a priority.
We're going to press for further funding to ensure that not only can we deliver the public sector pay awards, but that we can also ensure that our public services are stable and effective in delivering what the people of Northern Ireland need.
Road safety remains a serious issue at Duncanneely National School. There has been ongoing fears that a child will be seriously injured due to the speed at which motorists are travelling past the school. A video has surfaced which shows numerous cars jumping a red light as a mother and child waited at the crossing outside the school on Thursday. Kelly, a parent of one of the school's pupils, says last week's incident isn't an isolated one. She told the 9 till noon show earlier that they are effectively taking their life in their hands when crossing at the school.
2 cars actually broke the lights that day. And again, as the second car was going past, I mean, the green man was very visible in the video. So we should have been crossing at that point. But, you know, it's just not safe to do. So I don't even adhere to the green man anymore. I just go, if the lights are red, I just wait and see, is the traffic going to stop? I don't know how it's going to be resolved, but something needs to be done because somebody is going to get hurt out there. There is going to be an accident.
Cabinet is to discuss the new vaccination programme against measles amid fears of a potential outbreak in Ireland. Vaccination rates for MMR have fallen below 95%, which is the recommended figure. Around a fifth of men aged 18 or 19 are unvaccinated. Donegal GP Dr Dennis McCauley says a now discredited study linking the vaccine to autism could have been the cause of that.
That has been completely debunked now. So there's a cohort of children who are now in their late teens who a high proportion of them didn't get a vaccine, and then they combined it with the fact that since COVID, the vaccine rates in newborns and preschool is dropping also.
Donegal Senator Niall Blaney has missed out on a chance to contest the European elections. Last night, Laois Offaly TD Barry Kyan was selected as Fianna Fáil's Midlands North West candidate for the upcoming elections. Senators Niall Blaney and Lisa Chambers had been nominated for selection along with Pat the Cope Gallagher. However, on close of nominations, Pat the Cope Gallagher had withdrawn. Deputy Kyan says it's a great honour and privilege to have been selected. There's much concern over the reappearance of toxic algae at a Strabane loch. The Northern Ireland Environment Agency has confirmed the presence of the blue-green algae in Murloch. Signs have been erected warning people not to enter the water or to allow their pets to do so. Councillor Paul Boggs says more action needs to be taken to improve water quality in the area.
Blue-green algae has now been a persistent issue in waterways right across Ireland, and Murloch is just the latest of that. And I suppose that, the biggest epidemic of it has been in Lough Neagh, but I'm comforted by the fact that minds are focused on this issue. This issue must be kept as a priority, but for the meantime I'll remain in contact with all those agencies and seek regular updates on the conditions at Murloch in particular.
Weather now rain gradually clearing this morning with highest temperatures today of 6 to 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website highlandradio.com. Good morning. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, February the 6th. The death has taken place of Dr. William Macaulay, Roblin, Manitoba, Canada, formerly Rosebank, Moville. A celebration of Billy's life will take place on the return of his ashes to Ireland. The death has taken place of Bernie Clinton, 16 Brackengate, Strabane and Clagan, Portsalon, Fanid. Reposing at her home in Clagan, Portsalon, Fanid this afternoon from 1 o'clock. House private to family and close friends. Funeral Mass on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock in St Columba's Church, Massmount, Fanid. Burial afterwards in Massmount Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to Arthritis Ireland, care of any family member. The death has occurred of John Alexander, the Park Balnacore Crossroads, Killygordon. Remains reposing at his late residence from 11 o'clock this morning. Funeral leaving from his late residence on Thursday morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. Family time from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Jimmy O'Donnell, Old Golf Course Road, Donegal Town and formerly of Crahy Dunlow. Remains will be reposing at Gallagher's Funeral Home Station Road today from 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock, followed by removal to St Patrick's Church, Donegal Town, arriving at 7:30 to repose overnight. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock with burial afterwards in Cllr Churchyard. House private please. The funeral Mass will be live streamed on the parish webcam. And the death has taken place of Peg Dugan, Lower Door, Bombay. Her remains will repose at Rorty's Funeral Home, Derrybeg, today from 2 o'clock until 6:45. Removal afterwards to St Mary's Church, Derrybeg, for 7 o'clock to repose overnight. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Maharagan Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
For when a right turn becomes a wrong turn. Get up to €70 off car insurance with On Post Insurance at onpostinsurance.ie or call us today. €70 or 20% discount will be applied, whichever is lower, subject to a minimum premium of €355 or €345, depending on policy underwriter. Applied consecutively for new customers only. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. One Direct Ireland Limited trading as On Post Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of On Post. Best price online.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local Original News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Good morning. If you are just joining us at 10, you missed an interesting first hour. But anyway, we've got more interesting hours ahead of us very shortly. We're going to be joined by Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh, where we are going to be getting the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána. But some of your comments just before we head towards the ad break. Can you ask Nicholas whatever happened to the traffic lights that were to be installed at the junction of McGill Avenue, MacArthur Road and Clonmurra when planning approval was given to the new primary care centre in Buncrana? We can chase that up. My blood's boiling to hear Nicholas Crosson say there's not enough work for the people in our area. Yes, very true. But when Fruit of the Loom and Clubman factories closed here in Buncrana, our councillors did not do enough to encourage new industry. Thank you for airing my view. How can you solve the housing crisis by adding unlimited immigration numbers to the housing list? Mass immigration contributing to making the problem worse. Who is sending out letters regarding the review for a medical card? How do they manage to select who's allowed a medical card? Why is cancer patients being reviewed if they qualify for a medical card when they need the medical card the most? How is this allowed to happen? Hi, Greg. You wouldn't mind criticism if you were on Joe Duffy's salary. Is this a hint that your name is in the hat to jump into his chair when he retires next year? My name's in the hat for everything, within reason. Nicholas will follow up on everything that you ask him to. I asked for 2 council members to get me a map. Nicholas was the only one who could get it for me. The development plan is very important to a lot of people because of the land tax. So is that the land tax? If one got a bill for €20,000 for lamb tax, it would be very important. Again, I'm not sure if that's lamb or land. We had a voice note in from this listener on the back of that interview. Here's what they have to say.
Good morning. I've just been listening to Councillor Crosson's interview. I'm just wondering, could he possibly point us in the direction of where the defective concrete crisis is in the county development plan? I've been through it and I can't find it. I've been through it several times, as have others, and there's no mention of the defective concrete crisis in the county. There is one reference to Micah. It's a single sentence, and it's in relation to a childcare facility if they happen to be affected by Micah. So it'd be good to actually read what exactly the council have in their development plan in relation to the defective concrete crisis, because as we know, there's tens of thousands of people affected by this. So I think it would make interesting reading, but sadly, there's nothing there for us to read as far as I see. So I think Councillor Crosson has got that wrong, I'm afraid.
OK, and you can send your voice notes as well to express your opinion, just like our listener there, to 086 60 25,000 on WhatsApp. And you're commenting also across our social medias. Joe Bird, has Nicholas read the plan? No mention of defective concrete properties, only mention of Micah. In relation to childcare facilities affected by Micah, no other mention, a single sentence. Thank you for that. Anthony, there should be speed ramps at every school. Charlie says cameras and heavy fines would make them stop. That's on the road safety issues outside our schools. And on it goes. Thank you for all of your comments. 086 60 25,000. Darren says, believe it or not, Greg, most people in Ireland couldn't be bothered about Charles, yet we have to listen to it. He isn't our king, remember. It was his family that occupied and damaged Ireland. Well, I've referred to him as Britain's king in every time I've mentioned because that's where he's the king. So I'm not sure, Darren, if that's directed at me or not, but you can listen back and you'll see. OK, listen, thank you for all of your comments and calls. We really do appreciate it. Keep them coming into us. Community Garda information just around the corner.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 6th of February. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is a 7. It's game number 6. The numbers are 65, 19, 6, 24, 57, 62, 35, 84, 44, and finally 63. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of a butcher cutting through his costs. A tech company developing their sustainability plan. And a brewery getting production flowing nicely. It's all in a day's work for small businesses all across Ireland. So whatever your business, your local enterprise office is here to help you save time, money and energy. To see how, visit allinadayswork.ie. Brought to you by your local enterprise office and supported by Enterprise Ireland and the local authorities, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Join Homeland and Nutrius Animal Feeds for their Future of Farming 2024 and the Donegal Youth Awards evening on Wednesday 7th of February at 8 p.m. in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Learn from industry experts on the evening, including Finbar O'Regan from the Department of Agriculture, Conor Brown from the ICBF, Adam Woods from the Irish Farmers Journal, and guest judge Andrew Wright, better known as Farm Theory NI on YouTube and TikTok. For more information, visit homeland.ie.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. It is time for Community Garda information on this Tuesday, the 6th of February. We have two guests in studio with us today. We'll chat to, but we'll say good morning to now, Garda Patrick McGlynn. Good morning to you, Patrick. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
It's good to have you with us. We'll have more from you a little later on as we discuss the launch of the Donegal Youth Awards. And we have with us as well Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning,
Ewan.
Greg. How are you?
Good. We'll get straight into it then. So you're seeking the public's assistance in relation to a burglary in Ballyshannon.
Yes, Greg. This is a burglary which occurred on the Asrow Road in Ballyshannon. That's on the main Ballyshannon-Mundurn Road. It occurred last Thursday night, Friday morning, the 2nd of February, at approximately 4:15am. So the front door of the premises was smashed and entry was gained, and a substantial quantity of cigarettes were stolen from within. So we're appealing to anybody who may have travelled in the area around the time and who has dash cam to make it available to the Garda in Ballyshannon, or again anybody who can provide any assistance in relation to the matter to contact the Garda in Ballyshannon 07198 58530. That's 07198 58530, or again the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Now, a burglary being investigated in Raphoe.
This is a burglary, Greg, which occurred in the immense area of Raphoe last Friday morning, the 2nd of February, between 8am and 8:30am. A business premises was entered after an office window was removed from the premises, and this triggered the alarm in the premises, and the alarm was then smashed and doors within the premises were forced open. Fortunately, nothing was stolen, but again, substantial damage was caused. So we're appealing to anybody who may have observed any suspicious activity in the area on Friday morning, the 2nd of February, between 8am and 8:30am to contact the Garda Letterkenny 07491 67100, or again, anybody in the area, Greg, who has dash cam. We're asking them to make it available to us at Letterkenny.
Okie doke. Now on to theft from a car in Letterkenny.
Yes, this is a theft of a mobile phone from a car last Saturday, the 3rd of February. So it's a narrow time frame between 5:30pm and 5:45pm in the Rowan Park area of Lismonaghan, Greg. A car was parked in the area and items were being unloaded from the car to a private house in the area. An Apple iPad was stolen from the car. The iPad in question is unique in that it is set up as a communication tool for a person who has additional needs. So obviously the owners are very anxious to have the item returned, and as we are. So we're appealing to residents area or anybody who may have observed suspicious activity in the area between those times, 5:30pm and 5:45pm, to make contact with the Gardaí again in Letterkenny. And again, anybody who travelled in the area at the time who has dashcam to make it available to us. So, and again, should you be approached to reset an Apple iPad or to buy it, to contact the Gardaí at Letterkenny.
And this might be the most pointless appeal, but perhaps maybe the person who took this has a conscience.
Yes.
If they hear that it is been set up for a person with additional needs, maybe they could leave it somewhere and notify the Garda.
Exactly, Greg, exactly, yes.
All right, okay. As I say, that probably will fall on deaf ears, but you have to try, don't you? A theft in Milford next.
Yes, this Guardian Milford is seeking the assistance of the public in relation to the theft, which was only recently reported to us. It occurred a number of weeks ago between the 3rd and the 10th of January at Auchinurson water treatment plant in Milford. A diesel Bowser was stolen from a shed at the location between the above dates. A picture of a similar type item will be posted to our Facebook page after the show, and if anybody comes across the item for sale or otherwise, we're asked them to contact the Gardaí at Milford 07491 53060, or again the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Now, to Letterkenny again, criminal damage being investigated.
Yes, this is damage to a car which occurred over the weekend, Greg, at the McNeely Villas area of the Old Town between Friday evening the 2nd of February and sometime in the evening of Sunday the 4th of February, so sometime over the weekend. A car was parked at the area and somebody caused substantial damage to the car all along the driver's side with a sharp object, so significant damage caused to the car there. So if anybody's relevant information to the incident, we ask them to contact us at Letterkenny 07491 67100, or again the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Now, an appeal for witnesses in the wake of some dangerous driving.
Some dangerous driving, yeah. Yes, Greg, in the Drumbarnet area of Manor Cunningham in the early hours of Saturday morning, the 3rd of February. So that's sometime on Friday night, Saturday morning at 1:40 a.m. So we're appealing for any road users who travel along the N13 or in the general area of Drumbarnet in the early hours of the morning and who has dashcam to make it available to Gardaí. We are particularly eager to speak to anybody who may have observed a black Lexus IS 200 with a yellow registration plate to the rear to contact the Gardaí at Letterkenny. So that's a black Lexus IS 200 with a yellow number plate. Again, anybody who has information to contact the Gardaí at Letterkenny 07491 67100.
Now, for operational reasons, often we can't get updates, but you do deliver them when you can, and it just, I suppose, it demonstrates that appeals work and work is ongoing to solve a lot of these crimes. So, just a bit of an update in relation to an appeal from last week.
Yes, an appeal was made last week in relation to a shoplifting incident which occurred at a shop in the Cllr Road area of Glencar on January the 28th. The theft received significant social media attention, and we made the appeal in the matter, and we got some assistance from the public and through trawling CCTV, and 2 males were arrested and have been charged to appear to court.
2 females?
2 females, Greg. And again, we'd like to thank everybody who assisted us anyway with the investigation. And just again for people's information, we have a male in custody at the minute in his 30s for a number of thefts in the Letterkenny area in the last number of weeks. He has been charged and will be brought to court today. And again, in relation to solving these crimes, we receive some assistance, obviously, from the shop owners and members of the public. So we're asking people again to be vigilant at all times, report suspicious activity and in relation to shop owners, do the normal crime prevention advice, and again, report any suspicious activity.
Okie doke, right. The date is looming, the closing date for applications as part of the Garda recruitment campaign.
Yes, the closing date is this Thursday, 3 p.m, the 8th of February. You can apply to be a member of Garda Síochána at www.publicjobs.ie, www.publicjobs.ie. We had an information day last Thursday and it was well attended by a number of people. So if anybody has any questions in relation to your application or training process, or would like to speak to a member of a Gardaí or a trainee Gardaí before making a decision, they're welcome to call to any Garda station at any stage, and we'll be happy to help. And again, applications are welcome from those between the ages of 18 and 50 years of age. So thinking about you, but then I saw the age and...
No, I am still, don't worry about it. I'm still could be your colleague. Oh. How dare you?
You'd be more than welcome.
But it would. We're probably at the skin of our teeth, as the old saying goes. But I could still get in. Well, I could still apply.
You could still apply.
Yeah, all right. We could probably play some sort of a game at who could and couldn't apply from Highland Radio. Do you know what I mean? Guess the age.
Well,
but anyway,
I have a few. I know a few who couldn't. Yeah,
that could get us the run.
Jimmy Stafford.
Huh?
Jimmy Stafford?
No, not a chance.
Not a chance.
No. What do you think?
He'd make a good detective.
He certainly would. Hunting down the talent.
Oh.
All right. He's got a nose for talent out there, no doubt about it. Okay. Right. Now we're going to talk about the launch of the Donegal Youth Awards for 2024. And with that in mind, we have in studio with us Garda Patrick McGlynn. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Greg. Patrick McGlynn, the Garda Juvenile Liaison Officer based in Letterkenny here.
Super stuff. I didn't have your title, though. You told me, but it slipped my mind, so I thought I'd just slide past it. But anyway, here we are. Right, okay. I love these awards. And I think even just the process in terms of the nomination, just nominating someone recognises them. Now, obviously, then you can progress through that, and we've had some wonderful winners that have gone on to have success nationally as well. But I think you'll walk us through it now. But even the nomination process in and of itself recognises people.
Exactly, Greg. Well, this morning, as I said, we're here to thank you for having us to launch the Garda Síochána and Donegal are pleased to launch the 2024 Garda Youth Awards in association with Donegal's Joint Policing Committee. And these are annual awards here now in Donegal. The awards started initially, Greg, in 1995 by my colleague JLO, Juvenile Liaison Officer James O'Mahony in West Cork. And that was just a local event of recognising the good work of young people in the area. And that continued in the southern region for a number of years. And in 2019, our Commissioner decided that it was an excellent piece of work that was going on and launched the Garda National Youth Awards. In 2019, and Donegal has competed in those awards since 2019 for the last, so we're into our 5th year, and we've had some excellent results and achievements, and lots of great young people in the county nominated over those years. And we've punched above our weight. We've had winners, our winners in Donegal go forward to the national category, and we've had winners in the national awards every year since 2019.
And the majority, the overwhelming majority of young people are excellent young people. The majority of young people don't drink. They must, and don't get involved in any form of criminality or what have you. And I think this is a good opportunity to actually recognise that as well, to talk, because obviously, if you try and highlight an issue, people might think you're talking about, the whole section of one part of society or other. But this talks to the majority of young people who are solid, good young people contributing to their communities and society.
Exactly, Greg. You're quite right there, because in my role with the Garda Síochána, I work with young people on a full-time basis, and I see the excellent work and the excellent young people that we have out there in our community. We're very quick to highlight when young people are doing something wrong, and that's needed. But there's an awful lot of great working on by our young people in our community, and these awards highlight that. So it's just to let you know about it. It's to celebrate the outstanding work of young people between the age of 13 and 21 years throughout the county. And today we're launching the awards the 6th of February, and the awards are open now for nominations. Again, celebrate young people between the age of 13 and 21 years. And in conjunction with Donegal Joint Policing Committee, we recognise that there's a lot of good work being done out there. And make their communities a better place to live.
Yeah, and the point I was trying to make a little earlier on as well, all nominees receive recognition.
Exactly.
So that even just nominating someone, they will know that they were nominated. I'll give a person a nice lift, that I think.
It certainly does. It certainly does. It's fantastic for those young people who are nominated. And once we go on to who can nominate them, that can be you, me, any person. Parents, siblings, neighbours, teachers, local Gardaí, sports coaches, whoever you may be. If you know people, young people between the ages of 13 and 21 in your community who are doing good things, please nominate them.
Yeah. So Gardaí will be distributing nomination forms to schools, youth groups and voluntary organisations right across Donegal today. So if anyone misses out on that process or doesn't see a form or what have you, is there other ways that you can nominate?
Yeah, you can nominate. Well, the form process is the way of nominating, but if you haven't got access to that form or don't know, come to your local Garda station, speak to any Garda, come to myself, and we will help you out, and we'll get the nomination forms to you.
But they're being broadly distributed.
They are being broadly distributed, yes.
Right, so it's launched today, February 6th. Very exciting. Just a month, actually, to get your nominations
Yes. The deadline for nominations is 12 p.m. on Thursday, the 7th of March, 2024. There's four separate award categories for young people. There's the individual award, that is making a positive contribution to their community and making it a better place to live. We then have the Group Award. That is an award for 2 or more young people making a positive contribution to their community and making it a better place to live. Then the third award is the Special Achievement Award, and that is for young people who overcome difficult circumstances, defied all the odds, and whose commitment deserves recognition. And then our fourth award is the Community Safety Award, and that is for young people through a crime prevention or safety initiative or innovation. They have made their community a safer place to live.
Yeah, and indeed, I think transition year teachers and all will have a role in this as well. You're right, these things falling off. Lots of them spring to mind. The 2 young lads, or I think it was 2 young lads that were going around during lockdown checking fire alarms and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Brilliant stuff that you can't. That definitely is going to have a positive impact. But it's hard to measure it, but it's a fantastic idea.
Exactly. Then they won a national award in 2022. Yes,
that was a brilliant one.
It was.
But there's loads of examples. I'm not singling them out.
Of course,
it just goes to show.
Of course, and we've had some great winners throughout the years, and people especially who put their own life in danger. There's some people who have gone into rivers and whatnot, and have saved people, and who have assisted people who needed defibrillators and whatnot. So young people have been excellent in what they do.
Yeah, fantastic. The judges are Judge Attain Cunningham, Inspector Paul McGee, Councillor Jerry McMonagle.
Exactly. That's our 3 judges for this year for the 2024 awards.
Okay. Nomination forms, once you get them, can be emailed to Donegal Garda Youth Awards at garda.ie or be posted to Letterkenny Garda Station, Noonline Road, Letterkenny, and marked for the attention of Garda Doherty, who I have a feeling might be mentioning this once or twice throughout the month of February.
Yes, you should be, yeah.
We'll have just got rid of the Garda recruitment campaign.
Onto this one now.
But listen, it's important information, and as I say, it really is. I do love these awards genuinely because it recognises the majority of young people who are great, and even those that we need to help a little bit, they need their assistance and help through life as well. Okay, anything you want to add, Patrick?
No, just for everyone out there throughout the county. If you know of a young person between 13 and 21 in your community who deserves recognition for what they're doing, please get in touch with us, get the nomination form filled in, because if we don't know about them, they can't be included in this.
And everyone who's nominated is recognised. So whatever about me just scraping into Garda recruitment, I'm well past the deadline for the Garda Youth Awards. But anyway, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Patrick McGlynn, great to have you in, and we'll chat again actually. Anytime you want to talk about your work, we'd love to have you in if it's helpful to you in the work that you do. And also Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh, a regular guest who will be on with us in the not too distant future, don't you know. That was Community Garda information for this Tuesday, the 6th of February. It'll be available for you to watch and listen back on our Facebook and the Garda Síochána Facebook page a little later on, and it's back live on the show after the 10 o'clock news next Tuesday.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
I know it's easy with bottles and cans to simply throw them in a bin, but they're not useless. There's a new way to do this. Return your bottles and cans.
Return is Ireland's deposit return scheme. Bring back empty, undamaged bottles and cans with the Return logo to a shop or supermarket. You'll get your deposit back and they'll get recycled better. For more, visit return.ie.
Bring it back.
Are you planning a home renovation project and don't know where to start? Foy & Company are here to help with free in-store interior design and paint colour consultants all this month. Our interior designers will turn your dreams into a reality. We're the largest stockists of interior and exterior paint in the Northwest, and we have free delivery on furniture purchased this month to Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. Foy & Company in Ballybuffet, Letterkenny and online at foys.ie.
For the best breakfast in town, take a seat at Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. Try the renowned Early Bird Special or the Full Irish, or go all the way with the ultimate monster trucker. There's also healthy options like Kelly's Protein Breakfast or turkey and scrambled eggs. For breakfast, lunch, dinner or something in between, pull into Kelly's award-winning diner at Mountaintop Letterkenny, with confirmation and First Communion catering also available.
Are you ready to elevate your driving experience? Look no further than iMotors, your only Nissan dealership in the Northwest. The Nissan X-Trail has been crowned Large SUV of the Year. That's right, it's not just an SUV, it's an award-winning experience on wheels. Available in 4-wheel drive and a 7-seater. Visit us today at imotors.ie to find out more.
Right, and speaking of motors, I just want to make mention an event that's coming up on May 5th. So it's a little time away, but still well worth planning for. It is the May 5th at 11 a.m. It's at Snugborough, Bonagee, Letterkenny, and it is the 074 event. And it's cars, food and coffee. The event's a way of getting like-minded car enthusiasts together for a coffee while raising money for the Microaction Group so they can continue to support all homeowners impacted by the defective concrete crisis. All proceeds going to MAG, and it is, as I say, a wee bit out, May 5th at 11 a.m. at Snugborough, Bonagee, Letterkenny. Cars, food and coffee. Right. Hi, Greg. Does Councillor Crosson think he is worth his wages? Does he think he's doing a good job? Well, I would say so, and I think most people would agree. Councillors do work very, very hard. A lot of it's not in the public eye necessarily, or on radio or in newspapers. They do far more than just the meetings every month. So I would say he probably does. I'm sure he does. The real power is with the executive. The local councillors have very little power in relation to granting funds. They depend on the goodwill of the local road engineers to allocate money to roads in the LAS scheme, and are not really needed in this day and age. The men at the top table, the executives, make the real decision. That's what that caller believes. OK. Donegal Senator Niall Blaney yesterday missed out on a chance to contest the European elections. Last night, Laois Offaly TD Barry Cowan was selected as Fianna Fáil's Midlands North West candidate for the upcoming election. Senators Niall Blaney and Lisa Chambers had been nominated for selection, along with Pat the Cope Gallagher. But as you would know, listening to this programme, on the close of nominations, Pat the Cope Gallagher had withdrawn. Senator Blaney joins us on the programme now. I suppose commiseration, Senator. A lot of effort goes into these types of campaigns. You have to put your name forward, your head above the parapet. But you didn't come out on top in the end.
No, we missed it very narrowly, Greg. Can I just, from the outset, thank all those in Donegal and the Northwest generally that turned out to vote yesterday with a fantastic turnout of members right across Donegal. And we had a booth in Sligo that had by far the largest percentage turnout. I want to thank my team for all they've done, Greg. But, as you know, there's no guarantees with elections. I've been on the road for 10 months, Greg, right across the middle of North West, at party meetings and council conventions. And I put in a very good campaign. And to go that close, yeah, it's difficult. But also proud of the vote I got, because it was quite a significant vote. It's quite a good vote when you're up against someone like Brian Cowan's brother. It was quite a good vote. And Barry won out in the day. But party will be now looking at adding a second candidate, and I'd be pushing very strongly now to be that second nominee, the second candidate to contest this election, Greg.
Do you think that you're showing? Do you think you're showing? Your showing in this election process puts you, or should put you, in a strong position to receive that nomination from HQ?
Yeah, well, there was 4 booths yesterday. I won the one in Sligo by a long margin. I won the one in Navan by a shorter margin. And I got a good vote down the west as well. So it does show that the spread of the name and the spread of the message, I suppose, that I gave to members was actually connecting with them. And it does put me in a very good pole position in relation to that, and the party executive will sit and decide that. But as I say, that battle now started this morning, and
I suppose too, it's not just the individual either. I presume when a second candidate is being selected, you have to look at the geography and the numbers as well. It's not simply about personality, or even though you did very well in this process, there's more to it than simply that. I'd imagine now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's about connecting with the electorate, Greg. And I suppose what this is an indication of, first and foremost, I didn't have the national exposure that the other two candidates did have. Yet no, I was just within a very, very short distance of Barrycowan. So that's going to make people sit up and wonder, my God, how this man connects so well across the Midlands Northwest with the organisation. Was this policies or what was it? And I think if they do look at it, they will realise that I sold a very good message. I had a very good team with me in the last number of weeks, helped me to sell that message. And it's that ability to connect with the electorate, albeit within the party for this part. But I think I demonstrated a very good work ethic and connection with the people I met, and that can't be ignored.
Do you, not wishing to be negative, but just to get the question out of the way, in this process, did you feel it fair, level playing field? Did you get a fair crack of the whip, all things considered?
I did get a fair crack of the whip, all things considered. What was better this time, it wasn't one centre, it was four. It still wasn't ideal, but it was the same for everybody. I did get a fair crack of the whip.
That's all you want in a process, isn't it, really? Okay.
Absolutely. And now again, I hope to get a fair crack of the whip in this process as well.
And how is that determined? Do you get an opportunity to make your case? How does I
will get an opportunity to make my case, yeah.
Okay.
I will get an opportunity to make my case, and it's a constituency committee that's selected from the party that decides in all elections. When it comes to add-ons, it's what parties do.
Right.
The final decision is theirs. So I'll go there and we'll make our pitch. Myself and Charlie McConnell will probably come with me, and maybe some of my background team as well. We'll make that pitch and we'll see how we go.
All right. And when do we expect that announcement to be made, or has that been set yet? I know it's very soon.
There's no definitive date,
right,
but
okay.
I'd imagine probably within the next 10 days.
All right, interesting. Listen, thank you very much. Good luck with that process. Senator Niall Blaney there of the Fianna Fáil party. Back to road safety at Duncanely School. An island in the middle of the road and traffic lights on the Killybeg side and Donegal town side would be a good solution. When I travel to Dublin, I always see islands in the middle of the road. Speed ramps would be effective too. Cars need to slow down. There's a lot of heavy traffic travels that route. I'm not really sure the road's wide enough to accommodate an island, and I'm not poo-pooing on your suggestion, but I'm actually not really quite sure if the road is wide enough to accommodate an island, and there is already traffic lights there, but I presume you're suggesting that in conjunction with the island there, but as I say, I'm not really quite sure if it could accommodate that. But they've been used, you narrow roads and drivers don't like it. Often the drivers of big vehicles don't like it, but it is seen as a key factor in slowing traffic. Duncanely crossing, add barriers like there are at a rail level crossing. That'll stop the traffic or provide a rude awakening to the driver. Indeed, it's a suggestion, but that's not going to happen. But hey, it would ensure their safety, you would hope. Absolute disaster for Donegal that Senator Blaney wasn't selected for Fianna Fáil Euro seat. As an outspoken supporter of the Micah scheme, we needed him at the highest table. Okay, right, I sort of perhaps missed the tone of that before I read it out loud, but listen, we're a democracy here, and that's your view. 08660 25,000. Keep them coming into us. Right, okay. We're going to be returning to access on Grianan of Aileach. It's controversial, of course. There is a petition that has been signed for the attention of the Office of Public Works, the OPW, an organisation that's very hard to get to talk to get any information from. We're going to hear about that after these.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
Make your Valentine's Day simply better with a restaurant quality meal for two for just €15 from Dunn Stores. Choose from a range of delicious mains like award-winning Irish Angus steaks or organic Irish salmon, paired with a side dish of your choosing like potato gratin, and finish with a decadent dessert like creme brulee. Then toast to savings with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Make Valentine's Day simply better with Dunn Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on the next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture, Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top-quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
The Community Climate Action Fund is now open for applications from community groups in Donegal. There are 2 strands of funding available. Strand 1 focuses on direct climate action building low-carbon communities. Strand 1A focuses on cross-border projects in partnership with communities and organisations in Northern Ireland. The closing date for applications is the 22nd of March 2024. Please visit donegalcoco.ie for more information, the online application form and details of the information sessions. For any queries, please email climateactionfund@donegalcoco.ie.
We all have the ability to make our community more understanding and inclusive for people with dementia. Next week on the 9 to Noon show, we'll be speaking to a local community champion and someone with first-hand experience of dementia about ways that we can all help. For more information, visit understandtogether.ie and tune into the 9 to Noon show next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Rightio, let's have a look at that weather forecast. And I can tell you that, as it opens, rain will gradually clear southwards through the morning, leaving a mostly dry day with hazy sunshine. Clear but locally icy conditions into this evening. Cool with highest temperatures of 6 to 8 degrees in light to moderate northwest winds. Now, Bettina Linka joins us on the programme now. Bettina, thank you very much for joining us. Bettina, I beg your pardon. Sorry, Bettina. I know your name and then I remembered it as I was reading it. Bettina, you are behind a petition calling on the Office of Public Works to restore open access to Grianan of Aileach. And quite a big uptake so far, over 1,000 signatures, I understand.
Yes, it's good to see, Craig, that the community is behind this petition to see if we get access back. We had about 6 months ago. It's often forgotten now that until last September, we had open access. There was no gate locked at the Grianan itself, and people were able to come there morning, noon, and midnight. And this is now prevented. And there was something you said the last time we spoke, which pointed out that it comes with some really bad fallbacks for some people. You mentioned mental health, and I personally know people who go there in the morning with mental health problems. They go there before school, before work, and they come now every time they go and find the monument itself locked and access denied. They can't get in. So that must have quite some effect on them when they go there now to basically find some relief from their anxieties.
Is a bit of an elephant in the room here that is not discussed? Because I was of the view, Batna, that this was as original as one might expect, but it has been refurbished a couple of times, and you know more than me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone did suggest to me that it does require a further refurbishment, and that some of the walls are bulging, and there is a danger of collapse. Is it possible that one of the reasons access is being restricted is because it needs work, and the real question is when's that work going to happen, and how's it going to be funded? Or maybe I'm wrong, but what's your view?
The OPW has already a history of collapses with the Grianan and work they carried out on the Grianan, particularly between 2000 and 2008. And the monument was refurbished because the walls kept collapsing and they were reinforced with metal beams and concrete. So if the OPW would be certain that the work they carried out not that long ago was of good quality, then they shouldn't be worried right now that the monument might collapse again.
Has the OPW ever reached out to you or anyone or the local authority, offering the management of this with any conditions or criteria? Has that ever happened?
No, but interestingly, Craig, I was yesterday sent a link to the council meeting from January 16th of this year. And therein might lie the answer. It says that there was a memorandum of understanding has been signed between the council, the OPW, for Ireland. So there seems to be plans of managing the site already in place. It also says in the minutes that there are shared ambitions to significantly enhance the visitor experience of Grianan of Aileach through the successful execution of the various site management actions highlighted within the Conservation Managing Plan for the Grianan of Aileach, that's available online, and also contained within the Inish own Peninsula Destination Experience Development Plan. The Grianan is not mentioned in the later document. This is also available online, and the links are given in the documents of the last council meeting.
Okay. So just to be clear, and I'll ask you to tell us where this petition can be obtained if people want to sign it. What is it actually calling for, Bettina? What would satisfy, I say your demands, but I mean, I know you speak on behalf of a number of people, okay? So that's clear, just to be clear. Yes. But what precisely or approximately are you calling on the Office of Public Works to do or for in this petition?
Well, it's very clear, Craig. I want that is restored what we had 6 months ago. As the Grianan had open access. I just want what we had. So it's nothing radical. Just please, let's go back to the situation we had 6 months ago last year, when everyone could come at any time and visit the monument. The sun rises, the sun sets, the monument is now closed for all those times. And I just want that people can use the monument again as they had before.
Okay, where's the petition, Bettina?
Pardon?
Where is the petition?
Oh, the petition, sorry, Craig. The petition is on change.org. Restore open access to Grianan of Aileach, or if you just go to change.org and type in Grianan of Aileach, the petition will come up.
Okay, Bettina, listen, we continue our efforts to get a spokesperson for the office from the Office of Public Works. Lots of questions. One interview, I think, would settle an awful lot of this, so we know the problems, the intentions, the stumblers, you know what I mean, and then we can pursue it beyond that as well. So hopefully we get that interview secured, as we're working very hard on it. That's only part of it, of course. It's what's happening on the ground that's critical.
Yeah, but perhaps, Craig, you could, the contact person within the council seems to be Fiona Doherty.
Yep,
she is the development officer.
Yes.
She probably seems to have all the information concerning this memorandum of understanding and what is precisely perhaps planned for managing the Grianan and this new visitor experience.
But often these processes are far more complex than a point of contact. But we have that information in any case, and I appreciate your time. Bettina Linka, who joined us there. Any views on that to 086 60 25,000. A caller says, do we need counsellors? That's the question. We can all write and read and send emails, says the listener. The public are now wide awake, says another, and are doing their own research on the broken promises from politicians. And the bottom line is they realise the version given to the public is not in line with what actually happens. The one thing I will say, all information is there. Most of the meetings can be accessed, and there's minutes available of them, a list of motions, what was acted on and what wasn't acted on. I'd love to see a sort of a red, green, amber system for motions in a time frame whereby a motion is passed. You know, red means nothing's going to happen. Amber means it's going to be worked on. Green means that whatever that motion was has been fulfilled, if you know what I mean, and a time frame on them. I think that would help. Abuse, I'll have to reread that one beforehand. Nicholas, I've read that one as well. Nicholas will follow everything up, indeed. Thank you for that. Good morning, Greg. We posted, I'll tell you, I want a wee bit of background on that one as well. I'm not fudging this, but this is in relation to a post we put on social media, and I just want access to the original social media post as well, just to put that comment into context. Abuse, bollocks, and they have to do is tell the truth. That's bollocks, I presume. I hope, is that a replacement for a swear word? Perhaps it is, which they don't. It's like RTE News last night about the protests in Dublin yesterday. They said a few hundred were out lies. Talk about false news. There was thousands out. I saw some of the footage from that. I don't know. I tend not to try and guess. I'd say, 1,000, 2,000, 800, 700? It's very hard to tell. It really is very hard to tell because it was similar to where the defective concrete protests took place and the way the people filter in. So they filter in up along the quays and... unless you walk down like I did at the time of that protest, you get a full sense of the line and how many people are in it. But anyway, I'm not sure how many were at it. Some will say loads, some will say few, and somewhere in between lies the truth. Okay, former Taoiseach John Bruton has passed away at the age of 76 following a long illness. This news was confirmed by his family. We're joined on the programme now by Deputy Joe McHugh. Thanks for your time, Deputy. I do appreciate it this morning. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, you would have known former Taoiseach Bruton personally and also would have worked. Would it the time frame been you would have been a councillor during his tenure?
Yeah, that's correct. And I suppose at the outset, Greg, I just want to pass on my sympathy to his wife Finola and children, and also to his sister Mary and Richard, who's still in politics, and just thinking on the family this morning. And you're right in saying I got elected in '99 when John was leader. Didn't really, as a councillor, I didn't really get to know him at that stage, but then we were colleagues in the parliamentary party. Up to the by-election of the late Shane McEntee in 2003, 2004. So that was the time I got to know him as a politician. But I got to know him, I think, at a personal level when he became EU ambassador and when he was based in Washington. And I think, as some of his colleagues pointed out this morning, John... he changed and evolved as a politician, but also there was the person, I suppose, that maybe people didn't get to know, and he was quite good company. But he was also, John was a gentleman behind it all, and he just wanted to do things differently. And I suppose in his early career, at times you can get into difficulty as a politician, but he always had his heart in the right place, and he always felt about doing the right thing at all times.
And a long political career. He was first elected to the Dáil in '69, Taoiseach from '94 to '97, leader of Fine Gael from the 1990 to 2001, and resigned his seat that he was re-elected to in 2004. So out of sort of elective politics, I know he was appointed a US ambassador to the United States, but out of elected politics far longer than I would have guessed. But I suppose that's more a testament to how quickly time passes than any reflection on Mr. Bruton, if you know what I mean.
It is, yeah. He got elected the same day as my father-in-law, Tom Enright, in 1969. So he went through those very, very difficult lean years, very difficult economic times in the 1980s, and then when he did get the opportunity to become Taoiseach in 1994 for quite a short period of time, the economy was starting to turn around at that time. But he had a long career. He had a short time as Taoiseach, but he brought a lot of those political skills with him to the post as EU ambassador. And I remember attending Barack Obama's convention in Denver in 2008, and he was at that event, and I got to see a different side of him. He was very, very affable, very, very keen to know what was happening at a local level, what was happening back in Ireland, and just he kept a very strong focus. And in fact, when he stepped down as leader, he still produced policy. He still wanted to have a contribution and have an input, and he made many contributions in the Parliamentary Party up to 2004.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, listen, thank you for that. I do appreciate your time in paying tribute to former Taoiseach John Bruton, who's died aged 76 following a long illness confirmed by his family. Deputy Joe McHugh, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks, Greg.
Take care.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists, dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
We all want to keep children safe online. WebWise works to support young people, parents and teachers. Get involved in Safer Internet Day this February 6th. Visit webwise.ie for helpful guides, talking points, free resources on image sharing, gaming, social media and more. Brought to you by WebWise and supported by Comashuna Man.
Nutrius XL Yo with Lamb and Nutrius Yo with Lamb Crunch are formulated to ensure a vigorous lamb and excellent milk yield. Avail of our lambing season offer. 25 kg bags, buy 10, get 1 free. And €15 off per tonne in bulk. Available at your local Homeland store. Visit nutrius.ie for full nutritional information.
Go full Lidl with our exclusive Lidl Plus Super Savers. Like Board B approved beef and pork mince was $3.99, now $3.19. And our Irish carrots were $1.15, now 59 cents. And then there's our award-winning deluxe sourdough pizza, which was $3.99, now $2.99. Scan your Lidl Plus app and go full Lidl today.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Highland Radio are celebrating another birthday. We are inviting you to join us for our Highland Radio Birthday Bash on Tuesday the 19th of March in the Mount Erigal Hotel. Joined by the one and only Margot, myself David James, plus special guests Brendan Quinn, Declan Ernie and Patrick Feeney. This is a night not to be missed. Tickets on sale now. Why not treat yourself to one of our package deals, including dinner, bed and breakfast, plus your ticket to the show. For more information, visit the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. We'll see you at the Highland Radio Birthday Bash.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is just a minute past 11. Let's get a news update now, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Former Taoiseach John Bruton has died. His family have released a statement saying the 76-year-old died peacefully in the Mater Hospital in Dublin after a long illness. First elected to the Dáil in 1969, he served as Taoiseach of the Rainbow Coalition from 1994 to 1997. The 100% Redress Party is calling on Donegal County Council to provide assistance for defective block homeowners during severe weather events. The party is urging the council to compile a database of homeowners and provide a text service to advise them when a weather alert is in place and where they can seek refuge. A special plenary meeting of Donegal County Council is underway to discuss the Letterkenny Plan and Local Transport Plan. Following a public consultation and on direction of the Minister for Local Government and Planning, it's been recommended 6 parcels of land in Letterkenny be changed from use as proposed in the plan agreed previously by councillors. Concern is being raised over a change of use of lands designated for housing. Road safety remains a serious issue at Duncanneely National School. There has been ongoing fears that a child will be seriously injured due to the speed at which motorists are travelling past the school. A video has surfaced which shows numerous cars jumping a red light as a mother and child waited at the crossing outside the school on Thursday. Cabinet is to discuss a new vaccination programme against measles amid fears of a potential outbreak in Ireland. Vaccination rates for MMR have fallen below 95%, which is the recommended figure. Donegal GP Dr Dennis McCauley says a now discredited study linking the vaccine to autism could have been the cause of that. A substantial amount of cigarettes have been stolen from a business premises in Ballyshannon. At around 4:15am on Friday last, the front door of the property on the Asser Road was smashed and entry gained. Meanwhile, substantial damage was caused to a business premises in Rafo on Friday morning after it was broken into. An office window was removed from the property at demands between 8 and 8:30am to gain entry. An alarm was triggered and the perpetrators proceeded to smash the alarm. And 2 women have been arrested in connection with shoplifting in Letterkenny last week. A shop on the Circular Road was targeted on January the 28th. The women have been charged and are due to appear in court. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Michaela.
Jack, everyone asks me if you're teething when you cry, but can you be teething all the time? Maybe you're hungry, or you're sad and need a little cuddle, or maybe it's something else.
At the HSE's mychild.ie and in the free My Child books, you'll find the answers you need. From doctors, midwives, public health nurses, dietitians and lots of other experts. mychild.ie. Expert advice for every step of pregnancy, baby and toddler health. From the HSE.
Now, we at Highland Radio delighted to be working with the HSE as part of the Dementia Understand Together campaign, working in partnership with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, Age Friendly Ireland, the Dementia Services Information and Development Centre, Age and Opportunity and Healthy Ireland. And as part of that, here's a message on the issue of dementia.
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, you might ask, is there something I can do? The answer is, actually, more than you think. 9 in 10 of us believe people living with dementia have the right to be active citizens in their communities. But sometimes they need support to stay connected and engaged. It starts with understanding that everyone with dementia has a different experience. So, talk to them and their family. Ask them how they are and how you can help. Look around your community. Is it dementia inclusive? Is your local social or sports club welcoming people with dementia? Is your shop accessible and are spaces and amenities easy to use? It is often the small things that make the biggest difference. By being that one person who asks, what can I do? You are making that difference. For more information, visit understandtogether.ie or call the national helpline provided by the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland on free phone 1800 341 341. From the HSE.
All right, you are very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. And I'm joined, and really pleased to say, I'm joined in studio by Joe O'Donnell, who might be known to many of you out there as Joe 90. Joe, good morning to you. Thank you so much for calling up and saying hello.
Yeah.
Joe 90, where did that come from?
That's a long story.
Well, go on. Give us the short version.
I used to drive in lorries and things, and I always drove at a very high speed. I still drive far too fast. And the Cllr Joe 90 program was big at that time, youngsters, and I got that name. And when I started the school buses, all the youngsters got the Joe 90 bit, and it just spread like
that was it.
Wildfire from then after that.
So if someone says to you, Joe, you think they're talking to someone else?
Yeah, we get letters. My wife gets, Andrew gets letters as Mrs. 90, and Angela 90, and that type of thing. But so it stuck. I don't mind.
Yeah, good stuff.
I quite enjoy it.
You, as we do in life, celebrate lots of different milestones, and a particularly interesting one, an important one for you, was on the 26th of January. You celebrated a half a century off booze.
a long, long time.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
The sad part about it is that nearly all the people that I started to go to meetings with are nearly all dead.
Yeah.
You know, I was 25 when I started going to meetings, and most of them are gone. There is a few left, a few around, and a few that have been there for a few years before me, but they're few and far between.
Well, doing a bit of basic maths there, you're looking well on it.
Yeah, okay.
You're looking well on it, on the age now. But everyone's relationship with drink is different. You know, but you and drink didn't get on from day one.
From day one, I would say I had a problem with drink. I probably had a problem with drink before I even started to drink. Just could not handle it, and every time. I think the biggest problem with drink and the way I drank was that remorse and the guilt the next day, because it never went the way I intended it to go. So I drank for probably about alcoholically for about 7 to 8 years.
So what age would you start at, Joe?
Well, that's very difficult, because I would have been tipping a drink from maybe 10, 12 years of age, and started to drink then when I was maybe 17, alcoholically.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked probably what I'd done, but I didn't like the effects after.
Do you think you were happy before you started drinking? Like sometimes, you know, people drink to a certain level to hide something else that's going on. Or
Possibly. No, I think I was happy enough now, to be quite honest. I kept always this thing about drink, even before I started drink, that I loved the taste of it. People said they hate it. I love the taste of whiskey. I love the taste of brandy. Still do love the smell and everything. I just don't frequent anymore.
Yeah, it just was like
doesn't work.
mother's milk to you, like nectar to a honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I think it's interesting, you would have enjoyed drinking, but it was the next day, it was the afters, it was the come down.
There were no such thing as a good night out, because the next day, I thought a good night, but next day there was remorse and the guilt. For what reason, sometimes I didn't know, but there were guilt and remorse. Why? You know, normal people went out and had
I think a lot of people do get that, though. You know, I think if you're predisposed to caring what people think about you, or a bit of anxiety or whatever it might be, the next day after a drink, you know, lots of people are in the same boat. But at your level, though, it was acute. I mean, it was affecting your life effectively.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And what way did you drink, Joe? Was it weekends? Was it
when I had money?
Simple as that.
Simple as that. I just drank when I had money, and I sometimes drank when I had no money. You know, you always found ways to get drink. You know, there were always or you do something, or you pay. You know how to pay it back, or whatever. Or you didn't pay it back in the case.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A lot of times, you know.
You don't see it quite as much now, but it would have been very common for someone to have tick behind the bar, sticking on the tab. And you'd pay at the end of the month or at the end of the week, whatever.
Whenever you got money.
And the wee book in the shop as well.
Yeah.
So you're...
somebody asked me once about when do you know you have a problem? And I believe once it's costing you more than money. You know, you're not getting to work, things are not going well at home. That's when you start to need to look at your lifestyle or your drinking pattern.
And I suppose the story doesn't change to some extent. This was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, a completely different culture in terms of drink. Very little probably conversation about it being a negative thing. Like, was it hard amongst you? Like, did you lose friends giving up drink? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that would still happen today, but what was it like giving up 50 years ago?
Yeah, well, I don't know where the real friends.
Yeah.
This is the question you often. No, the most difficult part, I suppose, was to change the whole lifestyle. It was new. Went to the first meeting. I never looked back. I enjoyed what I seen. I felt, you know, just enjoyed it, and I kept going back, kept going to meetings, and it gave me a new lifestyle, totally new lifestyle.
And we'll talk about that. But was it one particular conversation with someone that sort of started this process?
Very good friend of mine who was at the time very well known, and we drank together, and drank heavily, and he happened to meet me one day. We're driving a digger up in a quarry up in the woodlands. And he arrived and he, wanted to talk about old times and whatnot. And he said he had been off the drink a year. And he said, I was in bad shape that day, very bad at shakes and whatnot. And he just said, you should do something about it. He said, would you think about going? I said, no, But about a week later I met him and I said, look, I'll have a wee look at it. And I went to a first meeting that Tuesday night and never looked back.
But there must have been something along with that conversation, or maybe there wasn't.
Yeah, well, at that stage I was sick, sore and tired of drinking.
But you're just in your mid-20s, like. You were a young man, mid-20s,
yeah,
like.
Yeah, I just had enough of drink because I knew it wasn't going to go well if I didn't sort it out somewhere.
Do you think people around you knew you had a problem with drink?
I don't know in them days that people realised it was a problem with drink. You just drank too much.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a problem, you know.
Yeah.
I remember the first meeting in Dunlow that I went, an open meeting, and at the end of an AA meeting I was asked to go to it at 17, and at the end of the meeting there were people, all the AA members from Derry come out at that time. There were very few members in Donegal, and this lady asked at the end of the meeting, she says, wanted to know how was she contacted if she knew a friend of hers would had a problem with drink, and everybody was looking at one another. Who in Dunlow had the problem? Half the town was rip-roaring, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
And this nobody realised. So it was a totally different scene.
But you don't. I mean, everyone's different, but a lot of the stories are the same. Like, you don't just give up drink. You can't just carry on everything you were doing before except drink. Yeah. And is that at these meetings, is that point made to you that this, if you're going to go in, Joe, on this, you're going to have to make some changes beyond just drinking?
Yeah, life changes. Your whole lifestyle, everything changes totally. Your attitude changes, you know, and until it changes. Excuse me.
No problem.
If you don't change your attitudes, I think there's a little saying or a little slogan that says, nothing changes, you know. You don't change what you're doing in your lifestyle. And the thing about the programme of Alcoholics Anonymous is that it's about not about drinking, it's about avoiding situations. You don't go into frequent pubs. You know, especially early days, I go into different ones. I want to go into a pub, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But it's not somewhere you should be frequenting if you're looking to get sober.
Yeah. So you stay away from temptation.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. How difficult for you was not having drink? Do you know what I mean? Like, some people can smoke heavy and stop smoking, and it's, you know what I mean? That's not the difficult part for them. It's the habit, or it's the social, or whatever it might be. The actual addiction to the booze itself, was that tough for you to not have that?
No. The biggest problem is if you have one drink, it's never enough.
Yeah.
If you can stay away from the one drink, there's never a problem. But it's that one drink that does all the damage. You just can't. Once you get started, you can't stop.
Yeah. Once you're on it,
we're on it.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else runs out. You're drunk and you can't keep going. But no, the first drink is not the first drink is the problem. You know, and if you can stay away from it, you're on the winner, like, and that's what it's about, and that's what the program does. And it's a big network. At that time there weren't as many, but now there's actually 12 meetings a day.
Yeah, well, you had to go west. You had to go to the west to Guido. You had to go travel quite a distance to your first
meeting. I was living in Letterkenny at that stage.
Yeah, but you had to travel quite a distance to your first meeting.
The early meetings was one in Letterkenny, and there were one in Bunacrana, and sometimes it was on, sometimes it wasn't on. And then there were a few more started. Glenty started, and Sonora then started, and there were a few, you know, all around. And Falcara, I think, is celebrating his 50th this year.
So, as I say, this is your story, but like, they say it's one day at a time. Is that how it was for you?
Yes. And sometimes an hour at a time.
But did there come a point where it wasn't a day at a time, that your life was alcohol-free and you didn't think about it all the time?
Yeah, there is. The first year was difficult, but after this year, the first year and the first hurdle over, there were celebrations, the birthdays, the Christmases and all those things there. And then again, you can do anything today. You can't do now, but tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, but the first year was very, very difficult, to say the least. But I managed, and at times we made it from one pub, it was like one to one pub, saying, "No, I'll wait till I go to the next." And I didn't go on. But then you didn't have mobile phones on them days. You could ring one of these people, and you did eventually contact somebody that you knew in the friendship, and they were.
But you had to do more of it on your own than you might have to now.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And I mean, presumably then, you talked about the friends that probably weren't friends anymore, drinking friends, bar friends or what have you. But especially, I think it would still be the case now, but even back then, as I say, only as a 25, 26-year-old, there are going to be other people that you're going to have to sort of spend less time with, because if you're trying to avoid temptation, there is quite a bit of sacrifice here, isn't there?
There's no doubt about that there. You have to change. You have to change your attitude. You have to change your friends.
Did you have to avoid things like weddings and stuff?
No.
You could still
now,
go.
I've often I tried to stop and drink for years before that, but at weddings and that were downfall.
Yes.
You got a few drinks and away you went. But no, I just seemed to manage, and there was always somebody near hand that was off drink or that there, and nobody ever forced me to take a drink.
Yeah, that's kind of the question. Yeah. Okay. No one tried to force you to have a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you're a non-drinker now, and I see it myself, people either think you were an alcoholic, or there's some other issue going on in your life or whatever. Even now in 2024, you hear people having to explain away the first 3 reasons why they don't drink.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's their life choice. They never drank. Now, obviously, I think sometimes when I have these conversations, we have to talk about how tough it can be, right? Because it is.
It is.
But very soon afterwards, presumably, you start seeing the benefits of it, and that helps you to stay on the wagon, so to speak. So even in that first tough year, I'd say there's a lot of highs in there whereby you're going, you know what, I've made the right choice here. I can see things changing in my life.
Yes, absolutely. No, there were a great bunch of guys at Cllr, and they at that time, we done a lot of stuff together. We went to meetings nearly every night of the week in the early days, and we used to go to conventions out there, and there were unbelievable people that we met that had been in that time sober for maybe up to 20 or 30 years, which in that time was a long time. And I never ever felt that I had no friends. These were always very close friends. And our house was one of them houses that they never left. They come at night after meetings and they sat about and drank coffee and smoked cigarettes. I don't know how we got away that we hadn't cancer years ago. Some of the rooms you wouldn't have seen the other person beside you would smoke. Yeah. But that's the way it was.
It was the way it was. And at that time, as we mentioned on the show last year, we had cigarette companies advertising cigarettes, saying that the doctor's choice of cigarette and all. It was a different time. We didn't have the information, and what have you. It was very different. Joe, through the course of this and through the 50 years, you've went through some tough stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the in 1986. It's the toughest year I think anyone could ever go through. I can't imagine in your mind how anything could ever be worse. As much as you're comfortable talking about that, if at all, tell people who don't know what happened in 1986.
Well, we had a fire, actually the day of Chernobyl. Chernobyl happened, and maybe a month ago, people were talking about Chernobyl, and we didn't even know what they were talking about. Yeah. We got our own Chernobyl, which was, we buried four of our children, and a very good friend of ours as well. And they rain from the youngsters, just 2 oldest girl and 2 babies. It was just Noreen O'Donnell and Sharon, Joanne, Adrian and Kevin.
Sharon's just 14, Joanne 12, Adrian 4 and Kevin 18 months. Died in the house fire. It's just
Saturday morning.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, some of those things. Again, I was fortunate I had because from the morning they arrived and they never left for maybe 2 years maybe.
So that support structure
came into play
in this terrible loss.
And the terrible time it was.
Amazing.
And we were fortunate, you see. And I think my wife answered that they coped. They were worrying that I might drink, and they forgot about themselves. But I had the structure and I had the program of alcohol to live, a day to day at a time. And I would say days, it's only today. Maybe it's not real. Tomorrow might be a new day, and hopefully something better comes tomorrow.
So in a way that should never have happened for a million reasons, the lessons that you learned in terms of sort of dealing with alcoholism and the network that you established were instrumental and vital in helping you cope with the unimaginable. In other words, the day at a time. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Today's today, and it's.
You know what? It was it was horrific, and I still looking back at it. They never did, but you think about them at some stage.
No.
Of your children, where are they? We believe that they're in heaven, but what would they be like if they lived today? I see friends of theirs that are grown up and married with their, families and that there now, and that's on a regular basis. And
you take that with you. That tragedy is part of you and will be
part of my life,
forever.
part of our life. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I can imagine the what ifs and the lost opportunities and what have you. But I think that's very important to recognise and remember. Sharon, Joanne, Adrian, and Kevin and Noreen, of course, as well. But it just to emphasise, if anything would drive someone to drink, you would imagine it would be that. But the structures were there and the people were there. That were amazing. Isn't it amazing how when we see the worst of things in life, we see the best in people too at the same time, Joe?
Happens all the time, as we know. Any of the tragedies or anything else that people write, depleted, that we know when needed. I mean, we were sitting till 12 and 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning every day. There were always somebody in the house. And the great thing about people say, oh, you must be exhausted. We were, but we slept. If we were going to bed on our own with nobody in the evening, it would be a long night, but we were tired every night. And I think that was part of, the healing process.
Yes.
And people come. I got 9 books that were identical when it was brought by a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi in America, and he had lost a son who at 9 years of age had the old age disease, and a brilliant book. And he talked, one of the paragraphs of the whole book was dedicated to Irish, and the Irish, how they coped with grief better than any other ethnic majority or minority in America. I said they had this wake thing. We had a wake for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Every day there was somebody called at some stage.
But how important was that?
That's what it was all about, that building, the strength.
Amazing. Exactly. And that's why for some people who lost loved ones through the pandemic, they still, I've spoken to them, I don't know how great they are in number, but they still have not yet really come to terms with it because they didn't get to go through that process that we go through, taking someone home, the wake, the friends. You know what I mean? And there's this the moment where they see them in hospital, and the next minute they're standing beside a grave, and their grieving process is more difficult because they haven't been able to go through the thing.
And I experienced a lot of it. I worked for about 7 or 8 years. I'd done the Good Morning service, and it was brilliant. And there were one particular lady in Lifford, I'm not going to mention her name. She's dead, God rest since that. But her husband died in the nursing home with COVID, and she wanted all set the house ready for her to take the home, the coffin, and they couldn't do that. And my heart went out to her in grief with a whole lot more. At that time was the same. We were fortunate that we had everything. We had the funeral, we had and we had the people come, and for about 2 years they called.
That's an amazing thing, a 2-year wake. It's an amazing way to put it. That really, I can get the sense of the support you were getting in how you described it. It is truly amazing. Obviously, there are people then within the AA that sponsor others and are good in supporting others. We don't all have that, you know what I mean? Some of us are receivers, and some of us are receivers and givers, and some of us are givers. Joe, were you able to use your experience to help many over the years?
There were a lot of people over the years.
Yeah.
A lot of people come just for advice and that there, and went to AA meetings after that, and they were successful. Quite a few of them were still calling, still friends with them, But I wouldn't now be as active as I used to be years ago. But there's still people, the odd one that will still come, or somebody belonging to them will come. And it turned out a lot of times they're successful, that they will go to a meeting, and maybe not just right as fortunate as I was the right away, but they usually get it after a while. It takes, you know.
And I presume you've had contact with people that are a long time off drink, and you were probably one of their first port of calls. That must be a lovely feeling as well.
Yeah, it is a lovely feeling. Actually, there's a few in Letterkenny that are longer sober than I am. You know? And but it's lovely to know that they're still there. You know.
A number of texts coming in, and this comes in when we have these conversations, is people who have loved ones or people close to them. They know for a fact they're an alcoholic. They know for a fact that, and I'm paraphrasing about 6 or 7 messages here, they know for a fact that they're on a one-way road. You know what I mean? That their health is going to be affected, that they're spending money they don't have, they're worried about, you know, their impact it's going to have on them. And the question that's come in, as I say, 5 or 6 times, and I'm putting them all together sort of in one lump, is how do you help someone like that? You know what I mean? You had that person that came to you, but that person came to you maybe at a time where you were ready for that conversation. How can these people who feel they've got someone in their life who has a problem with alcohol, how can they help them to encourage them to the AA or something?
I think the first thing is, as a bad example, to see you off drink, and they think, you know, how things have changed. I had absolutely nothing when I stopped drinking, and I'm not well off, but I'm, you know, reasonable.
You're comfortable enough.
And they see that you know, things are going well, and a lot of them take naps to pay to take, you know, that you're doing okay.
But that's people who come to the AA and maybe have made a decision and sees you an example.
But even people before they come, that are still taking a drink.
Okay, I get you.
Some of them will come and say, you should be enjoying a drink, it will do you the world of good. You know? But normally what they're asking is, what am I doing, or
what's it like off it?
Wrong?
Yeah.
Can we, you know?
But we have a serious problem with drink in
it's
this
absolutely
country.
horrendous.
We kind of dress it up as different things.
And that's horrendous, I think. You only have to go out at night. And I worked for the last 12 years in working life with Nowdock, and I mean, we were studying alcohol, and we all know about A&E, and that the drink is the biggest problem. I say 75% of the calls to A&E at the night or the weekend are all drink related.
Yeah, and then of course now there's more house drinking.
Oh yeah,
we kind of transitioned to that.
And that is the biggest problem, because they don't identify what's going out to pubs and not there, and people don't see them out, and they don't get into as much bother or trouble or out, because they're at home, so they don't see the results, or you know.
Yeah, and you can throw gambling in there and drug use as well. So you're at the stage now whereby you're still involved with the AA, but you don't go there, or you don't necessarily feel you have to go there as often as you might have in the past.
No, we're on it. Funny, I still like to be in touch. If I ever go anywhere on holidays, first thing I do is go to a meeting. And funny, we were on a cruise there last June, and up on the screen there were 3 meetings for the week we were away.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. So it was 3 lovely evenings with different people from all over the world.
And do you still at this stage fear that, you know, you can control today, but what if something happened tomorrow and you took a drink? Like, is that still ever present for you, Joe?
No, I don't even think about it. I drink, you know, and people say, do you want to have a drink? Or no, I don't drink.
But you're happy to touch base with the meetings, and nice thing on the cruise.
I like the people.
Yeah,
you know, but with lovely, I couldn't believe it on the ship that it was with meetings and all.
Great, isn't it?
So we're away again this year.
Very good. Where are you going this year? Can you tell us?
We're leaving Barcelona and Mediterranean.
Yeah, I don't know if Donald's in, but you don't want to get chatting to him, or the two of you will spend the rest of the day talking about cruises and the news. He loves his cruises.
I must say, enjoy it. Reluctantly, I went and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to this year as well.
Fantastic stuff, Joe. Well, listen, it's like anything, like when we talk about these things, and I've said it before, we only really need to maybe reach one person today that they go, you know, I can do it if Joe 90 can do it. That's the reason we do it, don't we? And that's the reason why you do it. So I really do appreciate you calling up, and I hope you enjoy the cruise and the rest of 24.
Hopefully.
And we'll chat again. But Joe 90, Joe O'Donnell, thank you so much for joining us. Is
You're
there
very,
anything you
very,
want to
very welcome.
Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up, or are you happy enough?
No, I'm happy. I just finish up at that stage.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. We'll be back shortly.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists. Dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
On March 8th, we'll be asked to vote in 2 referendums. The first referendum is about how our Constitution recognises families, and the second proposes to replace existing wording with new text to provide recognition for care within families. A booklet explaining the 2 amendments will be delivered to homes across Ireland, or see electoralcommission.ie/referendums. Your vote is your voice, so be a voter on March 8th. From An Comisiún Tábhachtán, Ireland's Independent Electoral Commission.
For day-to-day healthcare needs, generations have trusted the experienced staff at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From coughs and colds to aches and pains, from vitamin supplements to first aid essentials. McGee's have what you need when you need it, with a full prescription service available daily. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
Rule of thumb is what's good for nature will be very welcome here. That's why I started this. We're heading for the exotic garden. So the exotic garden was my first garden. So that was because it was already surrounded by sycamore trees, so it had a degree of shelter there.
That's Down the Garden Path, a new series Wednesday nights on Highland Radio, after the news at 8 p.m.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists. Dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
Step into style with Green Shoes. Stocking the latest styles from all your favourite brands in footwear. From Doc Martens, New Balance and Echo to Riker, Birkenstock and Bugatti. Shop in store in Green Shoes Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Fulcara. Or shop from the comfort of home on greenshoes.com and have the latest styles delivered right to your doorstep. Shop LK and One for All gift cards accepted in store. Green Shoes, the perfect fit for every foot.
Don't miss out on Ireland's #1 home energy deal. Switch to SSE Airtricity today and you'll be switching to the best energy offer in the market with up to 20% off select plans. Choose our Smart Everyday plan and you'll enjoy even greater benefits, like an hourly overview of your energy consumption, a simple flat 24-hour rate, and an end to estimated electricity bills. Switching couldn't be easier. Simply go to ssceairtricity.com. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green. EAB €1,484.82. Rates valid from the 1st of February 2024. For details of T's and C's, rates, exit fees, standing charges and renewable energy, see ssceairtricity.com.
Eclipse Cinemas in Lifford, Strabane and Bundoran was honoured with the title of Best Family Entertainment Venue at the Highland Radio Customer Service Awards. Here are some of the reasons why.
The Director's Lounge is brilliant. Homemade popcorn in a class of its own. The pizzas are amazing. The staff are friendly and helpful. I enjoyed having my hot food delivered to my seat. It's just a really class cinema.
Treat yourself to a night out at Eclipse Cinemas in Lifford, Strabane and Bundoran.
Crawford Tiles in Castlefin extends their famous bathroom refits to the entire hospitality sector, transforming 10 bathrooms in just 10 days. Their service include full gutting, replumbing and retiling. Unbelievable prices with hotel recommendations available on request. To inquire, call Crawford Tiles on 07491 43942.
Okay, we're joined by Kieran Sheehan now, who's director of Cllr Mill Holiday Limited, and unfortunately, a closure notice has been issued in relation to Cllr Gourmet Fish and Chips. Kieran, I'm sorry that you've had to make this announcement. Thank you for joining us, and I think important to help the public understand why businesses like yours, and there seems to be dozens a day, are having to make this decision.
Yes, good morning, Greg, and thank you for your time. It wasn't an easy call, to be honest. We have ran Cricregan Fish and Chips at our wider Cricregan holiday business for the last 5 years. We took the tough decision to close this year, just the food side of the business, based on a number of issues: the rising costs, the cost of materials, the pressures. I suppose many things, lack of genuine support. And unfortunately, as you say, we're not alone. I was talking to our oil supplier yesterday. He noted that there was about 50 businesses closed in the month of November. There's about 10 a week food-led hospitality businesses closing in Ireland. And I think what's particularly sad is the fact that the hardest hit areas are areas like Donegal along the west coast of Ireland. And the majority of businesses, small owner-led hospitality and food businesses, are really struggling with the rising costs.
Is it a particular challenge for seasonal businesses?
It absolutely is, and I suppose in some respects people look at the map of Ireland. The hardest hit businesses are the ones in more rural areas, and you have a half a fighting chance if you're working all year round. It's particularly hard for seasonal businesses. You have a very small window of opportunity, and every year you have to gear up, get a new team in place, and you have a very small window of opportunity. And particularly a business like ours, like we are in the cusp of the Wild Atlantic Way. We have seen, big improvements in some respects in tourism numbers and so on. But in all reality, a lot of people are finding, expenditure tough at the moment, and have been, particularly since COVID. It has been particularly hard since COVID to get people back into the hospitality sector, a sector which, when you see who's kind of left run it, it's a sector which is kind of high risk, low reward, and it's typically undertaken by owner-operators who run hospitality business for the love of it. Many battle through year on year, but I think with the increase in costs in particular, we just find this year it's just going to be too much.
And Kieran, without sort of asking anything personal about business or how you operate the business, is it a case that you look at the numbers and there's just not enough money in it, there's no money in it, that you'd have to sort of operate at a loss, or perhaps the profits it's not worth the effort? Like, what's the tipping point when you have to make such a tough call like this?
Okay. Well, if you look, generally speaking, a food hospitality business in Ireland will make typically fairly low margins, and I would say about somewhere between 4 and 8%, in a good year. And the higher end of that tend to be more for fast food outlets and coffee outlets and so on. It has become a very tough and difficult business. If you consider, for example, our raw materials, our fish, we get fantastic fish from Cllr. That's up 50% a case. Our rapeseed oil, where we fry using really fantastic rapeseed oil, is up 60%. Our vegetables are up 60%. Our batter, we use a fantastic gluten-free batter, 100%. I mean, these are costs that just put it out of all proportion.
You can't put that onto the client, because they would look at the price that you would need and go, "Are you having a laugh?"
And that is the challenge, and I think that is the sad thing. We do not want to be sitting. We serve restaurant quality food, at our site at Cricregan Mill, and it does get great reviews, and you can see the feedback we get. And the feedback, particularly since we decided to close, has been really heartening. I must say that. But you cannot. I could not, in good faith, say to somebody, for an outdoor dining experience, even in the lovely area we're in, it's £19 or €19 for a fish supper. We just can't do it, and there's a level at which you wouldn't expect the public to pay for it. So it's a huge challenge, and we were kind of half expecting more support, from government around things like VAT and various other things. And that hasn't happened, and sadly, unless there's a real focus on a fundamental change in how food-led hospitality businesses are supported, you do run the risk right across the west of Ireland of being left with, pizzas and takeaways.
What does worry me too is the people that have the power not grasping the urgency. Like, there is some kite-flying talk about potentially decoupling bars and restaurants from hotels in terms of the 9% VAT reduction. But we're in February now, and I'll tell you, we're not far off the middle of February. If anyone's going to make a decision like that, they need to be flagging it now, because there are businesses, and particularly the higher end stuff, that are saying, look, it's not worth it because for the quality of food that we want to produce, there's not money in it or the clientele to pay for it. So if anyone's going to make any decisions about helping the industry out, you can't kite fly on it. You need to be announcing that stuff now.
Greg, I'll go further. I think they should have been announced 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but
I think the response from COVID has been pretty abysmal, to be blunt. But it's not just about. I mean, the industry needs to kind of stand alone. I can say to you, tried our best. We've got really good ingredients. A really innovative menu. And all the rest, but you cannot fight against rise of energy costs up 50, 60, 70%. You cannot pass it on to the customer. It's just not there. And the sad thing is, when you look at all of the surveys for tourism in Ireland, people love the authenticity of the Irish hospitality experience. And I think that has been sabotaged by the lack of support and the meaningful support and the recognition, particularly in rural areas. Like if I was in Dublin, I have a massive footfall. I have a massive tourist trade that I don't necessarily have in North Donegal. And we're all treated in the same playing field. We pay the same VAT. We pay the same corporation tax. We have added running costs. The cost of getting ingredients to us is much higher than other parts of other parts of Ireland. So you're up against it before you start. And ultimately, I think it's a sad thing. Now, make no mistake, like we would love to have kept it on. We've a thriving business like Cllr Mill. We're growing year on year on year, but we just cannot sustain running part of that business at a substantial loss.
But another element to this, though, is, and this is no disrespect to, the pizzerias or the takeaways or whatever, where they can increase their margins, but it has to be recognised the importance of the food experience as part of that tourism experience. I mean, we are a tourism destination here. It's one of our biggest employers, one of our biggest generators of revenue for the county. And it's like death by a thousand cuts. If we do see pubs closing, the traditional pubs closing, if we do see, particularly sort of the higher end eateries closing, it does affect the product. And then you say, well, what is left? So we need, and when I say we, I think we as a county, but also you in a certain industry, need the recognition of the importance as part of a greater picture here. It's not about the handout or anything like that. There's part of the greater picture, the greater offering that we have here in the Northwest and down the West Coast.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I think I would say as well, if I look at, say, Dunfanaghy as a village, we have fantastic options in Dunfanaghy. The Rusty Oven provides some of the best pizza experiences on the island of Ireland. Ireland's Hotel, which has been there for goodness knows how long, a family hotel, second generation, fantastic offering. You've got the Strand Bar and Grill in Cllr, again a family-run hotel, which offers a fantastic offering. A lovely new Bry restaurant in Cllr. So there are other options there, but these are all owner managers who run their businesses, and they're not. I don't think they get the return that we'd all want. And the challenge is if they give up, or they get tired, or they get year after year of more cost pressure, it has to break somewhere. And that is ultimately the challenge. I struggle with how there has been such a lack of investment. If you go into our village in Dunfanaghy, the heart of that village has been sitting derelict, with the hotel sitting derelict for many, many, many years. There's several parts of that village could be brought back into life and really made much more attractive to the tourist offering. You go to beaches, there's not even toilet facilities on the beaches. You're trying to compete at a European level with a world-class offering, with a world-class landscape, with fantastic businesses like surf clubs and all sorts of amazing businesses. But there's not the infrastructure, or I don't think the government foresight to really genuinely support them in a meaningful way.
Okay, Kieran, just to finish up, we have been clear, but just to be absolutely clear, this is part of an otherwise hugely successful business, so I don't want to do any distract. So just tell us, just tell us what's still there, what's the offering, and all that kind of stuff, Kieran. This is only the fish and chip shop area of the business.
That's exactly it, and we're proud of the accommodation. So we have a have a lovely holiday accommodation business just in the outskirts of Dunfanaghy and Fort Cara, Kirkcreggan. It's a quality accommodation business really geared towards families and tourists, particularly in the summer months. And we're very pleased with the things we do. Like last weekend, for example, we had a fantastic wellbeing retreat there. We have obviously very good food offerings and so on as well. We do DIY weddings and a range of different things. So we're very excited about that part of the business. And that'll continue, and we're looking forward to a very busy season. I do think food is just a challenge, and it's a challenge too far for us this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I would actively encourage. There's still plenty good offers.
I was going to say, what a list of premises that are providing fantastic quality food in and around the area, so visitors won't be left wanting. Someone said they paid. I paid €22 for fish and chips at the weekend in a restaurant, and it was worth every penny. But you have it's about scale though. It's how many people are prepared to do that, and how long can it be kept at €22 and so on and so forth. Yeah. But listen, that's one person that doesn't mind paying. All right, Kieran, listen, continued success with everything else, and like just one very brief question: would like a further reduction in power costs and a 9% VAT rate tempt you back into the game?
I think it might well do, and I think we'll keep an open mind. Okay. We'll keep an open mind. I think it's been very heartening, the positive feedback we've had. It might well do, but I think ultimately, I would love to see genuine support for the wider hospitality, food-led hospitality sector in the west of Ireland. There's a bit of a crisis coming down the track as well, Greg. This VAT warehouse, and we fortunately paid off all our VAT, and we're not subject to that, but there are companies coming down that's going to hit them hard now the next number of months. So it doesn't bode well, No.
Listen, and also to people, let's try and not wait till something's closing or someone's dead before we throw praise and put good publicity all over the place as well.
It's a hard enough sector to stay in, and going back into it's not for the faint-hearted. That's for sure. But listen, it is a situation, and I do appreciate the opportunity to chat to you.
No, good. It's good to get clarity. Thanks, Kieran. Kieran Sheehan there, who is the director of the Cllr Mill Holidays Limited, which is the majority, or all of the businesses still operating, but they've made the decision, and operating very successfully, they've made the decision that the numbers just don't add up to continue Cllr gourmet fish and chips for this year. Okay, thanks for that. I paid €22 for fish and chips at the weekend in a restaurant, and it was worth every penny. Yeah, but it is... Like, outside of maybe steak and stuff, how many... I think people sort of see 16, 17, 18 euros a main course price. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. When you start going into the 22s, 25s, and you're at family of four out, not a lot of people can afford that. One of the issues now is that most of the food can be bought for a fraction of the price and cooked at home, says a listener. I saw a healthy breakfast advertised yesterday, €13. Who can afford that on a regular basis? Another is part of the issue now that people are cooking more at home because they're watching all these videos online, and we've developed a love of cooking at home. Maybe that's part of it as well. But a lot of this is tourism business we're talking of as well. So, it's making the numbers add up when the majority or a large proportion of your clientele might be tourists. I ate in a cafe recently, 1 egg, 1 bacon, 1 sausage and toast. How much? €9. I got the same breakfast in another establishment and it was €6. Why is this? Well, I suppose they set their prices. There'll be tourists coming to Donegal because there are no hotels for them to stay in. Just ask anyone in Ardra. They can't run their festivals because of this. Is there a move away subtly? A move to move people out of hotels? A lot of contracts are coming up for renewal late spring, early summer. I wonder what the story is there. Are these contracts being renewed? Maybe there's people in the hotel industry or have hotels. You can contact us absolutely anonymously. But is there still the same eagerness for the government to renew these contracts and keep people in hotels? If you could give us some insight from within the business, I've heard some stories that perhaps the government's trying to exit the hotel industry in inverted commas to accommodate people. But as I say, people out there with much more knowledge than me, let me know.
This week's show is brought to you by the Highland Hooligan Saloon. Join us this September in the sunny Saloon for a week of live entertainment with Ireland's leading country artists. Dinner each evening and plenty of crack. Sun, Saloon and you this September. For booking information, go to the outlet on highlandradio.com.
If you aren't quite ready to drive a full EV, you'll be going in the right direction with the Mazda CX-5. This SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty you'll find across the entire Mazda range. Test drive the 241 Mazda range at McGinley Motors Mazda Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
At Cooney's Home Interiors, we pride ourselves on offering you the very best in choice, quality and value on all home furnishings. Treat your home with a visit to Cooney's today and choose from our large range of suites, tables, beds, not to mention our large selection of home accessories. Our motto is, if you see it, you can buy it, and we will deliver it to your door. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Style and perfection at incredible value.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? What heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build? Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Rightio, as we head into this afternoon, rain will gradually clear southwards, leaving a mostly dry day with hazy sunshine. Clear, but locally icy conditions into the evening. Cool with temperatures of from 6 to 8 degrees in a light to moderate northwest wind. If there was more time spent on the important issues in Buncrana, it wouldn't be playing second fiddle to Ballybuffet. A one-way bridge in the middle of the town, a one-way road through the middle of a housing estate in the town centre, no pedestrian bridges, no swimming pool for 10 years, no national schools, no new secondary schools. Two of the biggest employers in Inishowen sit outside Buncrana through yet talking about bringing jobs into Buncrana. I mean, yes, that's it. But plans are afoot, aren't they, for the leisure centre? And there is an awful lot of money being spent into developing the shorefront and into Buncrana. So I'm trying to be a bit optimistic, Oisín. Local councillors might say they've all been flat out working on that. Who's to say? My friend's an alcoholic and was off drink for a couple of years. They've been drinking again and are back almost as bad as ever. They think I don't know they're back drinking. I'm so terrified my friend's going to lose her family, as they've told her if she drinks again, they want nothing to do with her. How can I help my friend get off the drink again and get sober? Can I make her see she's an alcoholic, or is this something she needs to see for herself? And that's a difficult one, because you want to be there for her as well, and you don't want to lose that friendship either. If anyone else has some advice, how can this lady, this fella, get through to the woman who was off drink, they're back drinking again, they fear they're going to lose everything because of their addiction. Rightio. Next on the programme, we are joined by Fito. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Greg.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, you wanted to share your experience of a scam to try and help others to avoid falling into this. With about 4 minutes, if that's okay. Can you explain what happened to you?
Well, the whole scam took about 2 hours, but I tried to explain it in 4 minutes. I was called on Thursday morning quite early, and there was a man, he says he was from Visa in Dublin, and he says that my debit card with the bank was debited for 200 euros and for 1,100 euros in Poland. If I knew about this, I said, no, not at all. He said, well, I was afraid so we managed to cancel the 200 debit, but the 1,100 is more a problem because I've left the country. Well, he asked me a few questions, and then he put me through to another man who introduced himself as the head of security of the Bank of Ireland. His name was Bruce Walters, he said. And he also asked me a couple of questions, and meanwhile he said he was sorting things out. And then he says, yes, well, I know what happened. There was a transfer in Western Union in Poland. So, but it's more than 1,000 euros, so they should have sent you a message. I said, well, I didn't receive anything. So he asked me to check my phone, and there was no message, not at all, no text message or whatever. So he says, well, then Western Union made a mistake. So they have to pay you back. And he says, they have to call you. And shortly afterwards, when this so-called head of security was still on the phone, I got a phone call on my mobile, and that was a woman with a very strong Polish accent, and she said she was from Western Union. And she says, well, there was a man who called himself James Burdick, and he said he was my son, and he came to the Western Union in Poland, and he says that I allowed him to take 1,100 euros from my account. And I said, well, that's quite simple. I don't have any sons, so that's whole story is impossible. But she said that her story was true, and they couldn't do anything about it.
And can I ask why the focus on Poland? Do you have connections with Poland, or it was just
no?
It's just a random country they picked as being the epicenter of this scam?
I think that's the only reason, because I've never even been to Poland and I don't know anyone there.
So you've got Bruce on one phone, you've got Monica on the other.
Yeah, and that was a complete mess, because Monica said one thing and Bruce said the other thing, so it was a complete chaos. Then Bruce was instructing me what to say to the woman, and the woman said, well, we can't pay you back. Then after some time she made a proposal, and she said, well, we can pay you back 300 euros and the rest about 90 days. And at the same time Bruce said, no, you can't agree with us. And he said, well, the Bank of Ireland will start a procedure against Western Union in Poland.
Wow.
And then the whole situation seemed to change, because she said, well, if Bank of Ireland does so, I'm going to lose my job, and really we have to try to find a solution, and you have to think of my point. And I became quite angry. So I was emotional, which is not the best state of mind to think. Well, Bruce asked for a conference call, so that was the three of us on one line. And the woman says, well, I have to ask my manager. And then she came back and she says, well, the situation is very bad. If Bank of Ireland starts this procedure, I will lose my job and my manager will lose his job. So we are going to pay you back in full. I said, well, that's all right. And then the two of them started a very complicated story about banking traditions and different...
So just to move it on,
money.
And I wish I'd spoken to you a little earlier, Bruce and Monica are both scammers playing good cop, bad cop.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
right.
what they did.
And eventually then, I'm sorry, I know the scam went on, and I wish I had more time, but I don't. You eventually rang your bank and realised that there was no issue with the account. But at this point... yeah, go ahead.
I'm almost at the end of the story. They said it was necessary to make over to my account 2,000 euros that I had to pay back 900. And then Bruce said, yes, well, but he blocked your account because there was a scam. And he says, but we can do it like this. There's an app, and then I can see what you are doing on your phone. And then there's a second app, and that's for the money transfer. And at that moment, I felt it was a complete scam.
Wow.
So I said, are you from the bank? He said, yeah, of course. And I said, well, I don't believe you. And then he hung up.
Wow.
But I've been with them on the phone for about 1.5 or 2 hours, and they drive you completely insane. I mean, when I wrote this all up later on, I realized that I could have seen this before, but I mean, they go on and on and on, and they have indeed a good cop, bad cop.
Unbelievable, Fito.
Attitude.
But thankfully, you didn't lose any money, and I'll tell you, it just goes to show how complex they're prepared to get. Listen, thank you very much for your time. That's why we have to leave it for today, Fito. Maybe we can revisit that again. But as I say, a good warning. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9. We're going to take a break. The news is going to be a minute late, and then John Bresson's back in the hot seat around the northwest. So don't go anywhere.
This week.